Hi, Unknown. How are ya? Thanks for joining. So I just hit the go live button. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We're going to give like a second or two. I posted it in the community section. And
why do you think it is that there's more gay men than gay?
This topic is going to be so lit. So let me go ahead and post the link because I actually don't have access to the link until I hit the go live and start the live. So let me go ahead and post it here. And I think I might just have us go ahead and get started. Hopefully YouTube goes in and sends the notifications out. It didn't even update, it just updated it to, it's not even updating the numbers. Anyway, hopefully it kind of like catches up with us, right? So let me see. Hi, Unknown. Hope you're doing okay. Thanks for joining. This is my first time going live this late, so we'll see what that experience is like. Hopefully it's not like completely different, but all right, let's see here. Let me get the link. Where's the link? Oh, duh. Oh my God, y'all. Shannon Sharp, the guy I was telling y'all about on Tuesday's live, Shannon Sharp, apparently now is going through like 2 other lawsuits. I keep telling y'all, these males are complete degenerates, and these are DL males. Shannon Sharp is obviously a gay male, and we're going to talk about the different elements today. We're going to talk about the psychology of DL males. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper. At least the first part, because there's a few aspects to their psychology, and I think you guys will be shocked as to some of these aspects. I would even go as far as like writing some of them down, but there's a good chance I'm going to leave this posted as well. I'm probably going to start leaving them posted because I feel like the topics we're starting to dive into are pretty important, so we should probably do that. I get to talking and then I forget what I was doing. Like I start talking and then I get distracted and I forget what I was doing. That's right, the link. All right, let me see. And then I'm gonna share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Love ya so much. Look at YouTube. They always start out with not monetizing the videos. Complete crooks. Seriously. All right, hold on. All right. Y'all give me a second. And this software started doing this really weird thing that I haven't figured out yet. Video link. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Posted. Period. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, save the changes. Duh. That's the whole point. I can update it. Why? Okay, I think I did it now. Perfect. We're good to go. Y'all, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen and let's dive right in. So if people aren't able to catch it at this time, they'll be able to catch it once the live is posted. Unknown. Okay, so Unknown says Shannon has a male stylist and he is very zesty. He invited the stylist to a basketball game too. Baby, oh my God. Why am I don't know. Sometimes, I wonder, why are women like this? Like, I swear, we are so like, what? Like, what's the tea? Like, what is the tea? Because even the tea, I heard about that, Unknown. I heard about the fact that like the stylist has been telling everyone all over social media that he's Shannon's stylist or whatever. And he does give me not the stylist, but Shannon gives me DL vibes. And I don't know the status of the stylist. I don't know if the stylist is DL or openly gay, or yeah, the stylist could be a secretly gay lover. I think I'm pretty convinced, I'm 99.9% sure that Shannon is definitely gay. You know, like, and my radar does not fail. Like, my radar is on point 99.999% of the time. Like, I cannot be played. Where is it? I already like had it like, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen and whoop, we'll dive right in here. I don't know if we should start with this guy or this guy, but I guess we can start with this guy right here. And I'm just like, I'm so happy I'm a woman, because it's like, I don't even know, like these males have no reason to be DL. Absolutely no reason. Because it's like the way women are, we're just like, when we find out a male is DL, we're like, girl, what? You know, we're like trying to get the tea. It's like drama to us. It's not really like, except for to the women that it's happening to. It's very unfortunate. But she usually will be able to move on as well pretty quickly and stuff. So these males don't even have an excuse for being DL. It's totally insane. Like it's not like women, it's not like we're gonna like be like, oh, don't like males or whatever. Like literally it's gonna be entertaining to us for 2 seconds. And then we're going to move on to the next entertaining thing. Like, it's like, oh, you're gay. Goodbye, sir. You know, like it's entertaining for 2 seconds. We want to hear the drama. We want to hear what happened. Like, no way. What? And then we go on to the next thing. Because it's like, you're boring now. Goodbye, sir. You're boring. All right. So let's start with this video and then go from there. Because I feel like he's a little bit more entertaining looking. And then I forgot that I have to pull it up on my phone. Hi, So King B. Thanks for joining. I am moving slow, so that thankfully that's giving some time here. Per usual, moving slow. Okay, he goes in to this long explanation on telling us why he's not gay and why he's not DL and whatnot. And I believe him. I don't get DL vibes from this guy. I don't get the vibes. Like, I don't get the vibes. So I believe him. But just so y'all know, the video starts at like 5. We might skip it. We'll see. I want him to have the chance to give his disclaimer as we watch what he's talking about. And then we're going to go into the main course. Is actually, I don't want to start with the main course because I feel like, well, some people might still be joining and, you know, it's not necessarily my usual time. So I don't want to start with the main course of the video. But we'll start with him because this is a pretty good video. I would take notes. I would tell all my girlfriends, all my friends, refer them to this video. I'm going to start leaving the lives posted just because it's like some of these topics that we're starting to get into are really important. And I used to like lock the lives because it's like I was really new to them. And also I kind of wanted to test different things out. But these topics are just important. Like I feel like a lot of people just should have access to the information. Not even people, really, it's women. A lot of women should have access to the information. So let's go ahead and get started, y'all.
Good evening again, y'all. I am back with a video, man, and
y'all let me know if you can't hear it.
Some people off with this one. Probably gonna lose some subscribers. But hey, here what it is. About that been following me for a minute knows that I don't cut no corners, I don't sugarcoat, I don't bullshit. I speak my mind, right? So I ain't gonna lie, I was at work, well I'm at work now, but I was at my last delivery right out here at Walmart.
Are y'all able to hear that okay? I always feel like it's low. Maybe I'm just deaf. Like, seriously.
And I was eavesdropping on 2 women talking about how their friend.
I know. So King B, I thought it was just me. I was like, I can't really hear this guy. But, you know, I be deaf sometimes. Like other people maybe can hear it. Or even when it comes to seeing things, I'm like, am I blind, or is it just like, so maybe I was thinking maybe it's just me, but I don't know what kind of microphone he's using. Terrible quality, but hopefully y'all can still kind of hear what he's saying.
Found out that her boyfriend is on the download and say, she didn't even know it. That he don't look like he gay or whatever, you know what I'm saying? She don't even know it. And I was like, look, y'all, there's all kind of ways to tell if a man is on the download. It's gonna be some kind of sign. They can't completely hide it. And they were like, well, how you know? How you know? You must be gay.
So King B, can you hear like the words? Like, can you like make out what he's saying? Because I'm gonna be so kind of irritated. Like if I watch it back and the guy can't we can't hear him. Because yeah, I agree. The microphone quality is so bad. And I was like, maybe it's just my hearing. I'll stay optimistic, but clearly not.
I'm like, nope. I'm securing my manhood. I'm 100% man. I have nothing against gay people. I just so happen to have gay people in my family. I grew up around gay people. I done hung out with great gay people. Kicked it. I done did business with gay people. I was on the, I'm gonna say the street gangs, drug dealer / hustler. So I done did business with gay people in the street because they some of the best boosters, hustlers. They get money. So me being 100% man, I ain't got no kind of question about I don't care what anybody else think. I'm securing my manhood. So I'm able to top it up, do business, hang out with, talk shit with anybody, gay or straight. I ain't worried about that. They don't intimidate me. I'm not afraid to be around them. I don't care what nobody think. Oh, you be talking to them gay folks. You must be gay. Anyway. So anyway, throughout my years of gay people I know, friends or whatever, I talk, I ask questions, I'm curious.
I agree, So King B. I agree. I wonder if I get my my speaker, if that might help y'all. I could try doing that, but I would have to leave for a second. I would have to leave and go get it if that might help.
What be on your mind? What make you the way you are? Was you born? I didn't ask you questions like, were you born gay? Did you choose to be gay?
I'm gonna go get it because he tries to defend himself for like 5 minutes, y'all. It's like, are you sure you're not gay? Because you're like defending yourself like super hard, but I don't know. Maybe he's just traumatized. I don't get the gay vibes from him, but he defends himself for like 5 minutes, y'all.
And so on. And we'll be sitting up on the block, chopping it up, talking, right? And they'll tell me about guys that look like straight thugs that they've been sleeping with. I'm like, for real? Such and such? Yeah. Man, he loving it. You know what I'm saying? They be like, they talk. Them gay people gonna tell on you. If you're sneaking around with a gay dude, he gonna tell on your ass. So I just sit there and just listen to all the stuff they talk. My family member that's gay, friends that gay, but anyway. So what I came up with over the years, they was breaking down to you how you can tell when a dude is on the download. So I'm gonna share this information with you ladies and some of you men that might be hanging with a dude that's on the download, you don't know it. And not that you care about it being gay, but you really want to know. Because for years, I had a friend that was gay on the download. I ain't know it. And I was wondering why people say I was gay, and I didn't know why. Because I'm not. Not knowing that because the dude I was hanging with, that we were friends for years, I didn't know what he was doing. The way people saw me hanging with him all the time, we riding out by ourselves together, smoking blunts and hanging out, you know what I'm saying? Folk think we doing some shit. I didn't even know. I didn't know what to look for. So over the years, now I look back on some of the behavior that he used to have, some of the things that he used to do. I should have been able to pick up on, this dude, he liked that. Not that it would have mattered, like I said, I'm not homophobic, so I don't give a shit. But I would have known at least. So why people saying I'm gay and I don't know why, now I would have known. So and fellas that might be having a gay friend and you don't know he gay. So identify a down low male. Because it's a big deal, it's a big thing, especially in the black community, with these down low brothers.
How is that? Is that better? Or should we go back to before? Let me know.
You gay, I don't see nothing wrong with it. But just be who you are. Don't be lying to people. Don't be tricking people, especially women. Don't be in a relationship you know you gay. Just be honest. But anyway, so here's some giveaways that you need to look out for. And just not saying this means he's on the down low. That ain't what this means. But it's something that you should look at. If you see these things, you should be and keep an eye on it. Now, one of these things is, I'm going to piss y'all off with you, what I know. God in fraternity, especially the Catholics. God in fraternity. And the reason I say this is because most men, most strong, solid, 100% heterosexual men, they don't want to hang out with a bunch of other dudes. My brothers, my frat brothers, they don't, most men, now this don't mean them dudes gay, all of them, but y'all know a lot of them are. They just came out over the years where you got openly gay couples getting married now. You know what I mean? So don't act like y'all don't know they in there. So if no guy is happy to be in a fraternity, that don't mean he's gay. Like I'm gonna reiterate that. But it's something to look at. Most men don't want to hang out for no long periods of time with a bunch of other dudes. Unless we're watching a game.
Hi, Georgia. Thank you. Yeah, I increased the volume to like the max. So hopefully that's better.
Or something like that. Or at a football game. Okay. So fraternity members, especially them Catholics. Watch out for them Catholics. They be doing that shimmy and that shit and squatting down to the ground and wiggling. That's I always thought that looked suspect to me. That don't mean shit.
Okay, good. So can be. I'm glad.
I'm just telling you what I've been told over the years. So, fraternity brothers, fraternity members, especially Catholics, when they be doing that shimmying, and what they call it shimmying or whatever, they be wiggling their shoulders and going all down to the ground, kicking their feet up and whatever. That ain't masculine to me. But anyway, another one. Now, all men, I ain't gonna say all men, most men, because you got some women that like it in the back door. You know, anal sex. There's a lot of women that like that. And as your man, he should be willing to do most of what satisfies his woman. But if you happen to have a man, but that's pretty much like he loves anal sex and all he seems like he want to do, every time you look around, he asking you, can he put it in your, in your butt? Y'all already know that's a dead giveaway. Like I said.
Okay, so he's basically saying here, we talked about this in one of the other lives, but I think what's important to keep in mind is also the frequency that he asks for that. And the fact that he's the one asking, I think is a big deal. Like, even if it's a woman that likes doing kinky stuff like that, like the back door, if he's the one asking for it, I agree with him. I think it's kind of a dead giveaway that, there's a good chance that you're dealing with a DL male. So let me kind of frame for today's for the life that we're going to have for today's live, right? So today we're going to be talking about the psychology of the DL male. And we're starting with this video. I think it's a good opener because in order to start diving into the psychology of the DL male, we have to have somewhat of an understanding of what a DL male is and some of the signs, right? Now, I think you guys might be surprised as to some of the aspects of the psychology of the DL male, but when as we go and we talk about this more and we kind of connect the different dots and stuff, y'all will see how the psychology of a DL male connects with every other aspect of their lives. So in reality, a lot of times you don't really have to play guessing games as to whether or not this male is DL or even might be DL, because it shows up in every single area of their lives. You just have to know what you're looking for. You just have to know what you're on the lookout for, right? So, and this goes not just for the topic of DL, but for other things as well. But right now we're sticking to the topic of DL males, right? So the first and most important thing I always tell ladies is, and always remind myself of is, well, you can't do anything if you don't trust yourself, right? A lot of women, I feel like they might start talking to a guy because they start liking him, or because they don't want to be alone, or they don't want to be lonely. Then they kind of start giving or making excuses for him. They start ignoring red flags, or, oh, it's not that big of a deal, oh, it's okay, like I've seen one of my guy friends do that before. And so that when you start doing that, I feel like as a woman, what you're doing is ignoring your own intuition, right? So you're essentially telling yourself that you don't really trust yourself, or you don't really care about what your body and your mind is telling you. And that's the first step to any of this, because if you ignore these thoughts, and I'm giving the background because I feel like a lot of my subscribers probably already know this aspect, but if you're watching it after, if you're watching this live after, especially if you're a youngin, one of the things to really, really keep in mind or start practicing is trusting yourself and trusting your intuition. Okay. I say it all the time, right? I'm like, yeah, any little sign and I feel like you're weird or you're on the DL, I'm out. Right. So you have to kind of trust your intuition and be able to take action on what it is that your mind is telling you. And in order to do that, you have to know what you're looking for. So we're going to talk about, as we go along, we're going to talk about the psychology of the DL male. Okay. Or a little bit about the psychology of the DL male. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to kind of see, okay, what might be going on here, why they maybe do it, right? How they might move when they're, on the DL, and still interacting with women. We're going to take a look at some of these aspects because it's important for us to know, right? So
I've done it with a woman before. That's what she like. I've done it before, but that ain't my favorite. Like, I just got to have anal. Like, baby, well, let it go. Let's do that. I could care less about that. I like the coochie. But if I happen to meet a woman and she into that, I'll do it for her. But she would not have me sweating her to go in the back door. If your man, lady, every time you look around, he want to do anal, dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. It is what it is. If your man like to watch Love and Hip Hop and them type of reality shows like that, real men don't watch that. Your boy suspect. I can't stand to watch them type of shows. Love and Hip Hop and Love and whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If your man loves to sit down with you and he watching by himself, watching that crap, you better watch it. You suspect. Like I say, none of these things that I'm saying is guaranteed that he on the download, but it's a great possibility if you see any of these things with your man that he on the download. He whatever friends he do have, male friends, especially one in particular friend, every time they look around, they arguing with each other, falling out. Men don't teach them arguing and fall out with they.
Y'all, everything he's describing are feminine traits. So that might make it a little bit easier because everything that he kind of describes falls more under the feminine, right? Like if you have a male in front of you and even if he's like a friend or whatever, and you're trying to figure out, is this guy a DL male? Is he actually gay? If you have like a guy in front of you and he's always falling out with his bros, fighting his bros, or, oh, we had an argument, oh, now we're made up, oh, we had another argument, now we're made up, there's a good chance, there's like 99.99% of a chance that that's a gay male. Like that male is gay. Okay. Because the typical kind of like masculine structure does not do all this back and forth. They don't do any, that's why you'll hear like coaches also say, you want to find a man that likes you a lot more, because they're not going to go back and forth with you. Usually if they're straight, they're not going to do all this arguing. They're not really interested in arguing back and forth with you. It's the same thing. Like when a male is going back and forth with his bros, okay, that guy is probably gay. Okay. Because it's not common. I'll say it like that. It's not common to see two guys kind of like catfighting, going back and forth. It's like, what is so serious about y'all's dynamic that you are falling off, getting back together, falling off, getting back together? That resembles more of a man-woman dynamic if they're in a relationship, right? So that also tells you that psychologically, think about it from a psychological perspective. That might make it easier, right? That tells you that psychologically, one of the main things that's happening there is they are emotionally invested, okay? Think about what it takes to go back and forth with someone, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That takes a high level of emotional investment. Okay, a deep level of emotional investment. So that means that, look, this male is deeply emotionally invested to this other male. Okay. And if there's like such a deep emotional investment to the point where they're willing to sit there and argue with each other, then get back together, then they argue with each other and get back together, you're probably dealing with a gay male. Whether or not he's admitted it to himself or not, I wouldn't advise for you to stick around. If you're not interested in that, I would chunk up the deuces, okay? Because there's a good chance that, look, at the very least, you have a male that overly emotionally invests into other males, okay? So that puts you at high risks of dealing with this male, and this male turns out to be DL, gay, or he might bring you all types of diseases. You don't know what he's bringing you. So the first thing to keep in mind from a psychological perspective is that to go back and forth with someone, with anyone, right? One of the main ingredients for that is a high level of emotional investment. Like you're very emotional, you're very, very emotionally invested, right? In this dynamic or in this person or in this relationship. You're very, whatever it is, when it comes to in relation to that other individual, you're very, very much so emotionally invested. Okay. Which is why that's basically what he's trying to explain, right? So which is why it's a really, really big red flag when you see a male going back and forth with another male, as far as like, there's a good chance that this male is not straight. There's a good chance that he's gay, right? So psychologically speaking, keep that in mind.
Homeboy. If your man got a homeboy, they every time they look around, they falling out with each other. They mad at each other. They're going off on each other. They're in a relationship. Real men don't do that with their homeboy. We might have disagreement or whatever, but if real men have a disagreement with their homeboy, they're gonna cut that nigga ass off, or they gonna sell it right there and they're gonna be done with it. There's gonna be no back and forth over and over again. But if your man every time look around, he come tell you that damn.
Also, keep in mind that in the society that we live in, this might be a lot of information, but it'll be posted after. In the society that we live in the patriarchal structure that we live in, you also have to keep in mind that, so he said real men don't do that, okay? The society and patriarchy naturally has men conditioned to not exhibit all of this emotion, okay? It's like, they're not necessarily comfortable with showing outwardly all of this emotion, okay? They're not gonna sit here going back and forth with you. They're not gonna sit here trying to they just don't even have the emotional energy to give. Most of the emotional energy that straight men have comes from the women that they're with, okay? So when you see a male exhibiting so much emotion towards another male, you got to start thinking, and you got to start wondering, where's all this emotional energy coming from? And it has to be so intense enough to where you can't even help yourself. You're going back and forth with another male. You're fighting with, that's like, it's like you have a girlfriend, like, males fighting with their girlfriends and all this other stuff because that's their girlfriend, right? So, and society doesn't even support that in and of itself, right? The patriarchy in and of itself doesn't support that. So to push back so hard on the societal constructs, the patriarchal constructs, usually from a subconscious level where you don't even realize, unless you're talking to like a psychologist or something that can break it down, you don't even realize that's what you're doing. There's a good chance that's a DL male. That's part of some of the psychology of DL males. So keep that in mind as well. Hi, Vet Victoria. How are ya? Hi, Vet Victoria. Thanks for joining.
Check this out. Man, he was that bullshit. I ain't fucking with him no more. I'm sick of that shit. We just got into it. And then a couple of days later, he back hanging out with so-and-so. And a couple of days later, he come tell you again that he got to another argument. Suspect. Men don't get into an argument with their friends like that. Back and forth, back and forth. When a man gets into it, when he fall out with his homeboy, it's done. They probably gonna talk for years. But if your man back and forth with his friend, arguing, they cool, arguing, they cool, arguing, they cool, that man and woman behavior. So one of them is the man and one of them is the woman. Trust me. He gossip.
Yeah, he's right. Especially, I'm going to say it again, for the youngins that might be watching this afterwards, right? Especially because, naturally speaking, with the societal construct that we have, males do not feel comfortable exhibiting this level of emotion. They don't. Okay. They don't even want to explore it. That's why it's always, you'll usually hear women are the ones dragging the males into counseling, dragging the males into the hospital. They usually don't even want to explore it. They usually don't even think about it. They usually don't even care to do it. As soon as something happens, and it's with their bros, not their girlfriend, bye, they're going to be out of there. So if you have a male that's exhibiting something different from that, where you're seeing a high level of emotional investment towards another male, that psychology does not run, that psychology doesn't run congruent with what we see with most of the societal population within the patriarchal structure. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay. Hi, Toby. Thanks for joining.
And talk behind a friend back to you, even though you're his woman. He always gossiping, talking about the daily tea, what's going on, who did what, who said what.
The daily tea. This one is simple. Okay. If he gossips a lot, talks about other people a lot, he gay. Okay. That's as simple as that one gets. Okay.
Friend behind his back, but nigga, what I'm saying? He be blah blah blah. He tell you about his friend. And you his woman, because real men don't do that. He's suspect. He gossiping behind his friend back to you. Talking about his friend behind his friend back to you. He's suspect. You find a man, if your man got homeboy, that he can talk on the phone with for hours, that ain't a family member, his mother, somebody like that, if he can talk on the phone, like just hold a conversation on the phone for hours with another man, he's suspect. Men can't do.
Okay, so let's kind of dissect that from a psychological perspective. So all he's saying here, if he can talk to another man on the phone for hours, I wouldn't even say suspect. Look, this male is gay. At the very least, he's way too, again, it all ties back to the same thing, okay? He's way too emotionally invested in another male. Okay. To talk on the phone for hours, do you know what that requires? Oh my gosh. That's why on the alternative side, on the other side, the training for women is to be more selective as to who they give all this emotion to. Because for women, it comes by nature, it just comes naturally. I mean, it's like an influx of emotions. They're always wanting to talk. They're like on the phone. They're like, all of that comes from that basis, right? That nurturing emotion type, of a foundation, right? So if you have a male that's sitting here talking to his bros over the phone for hours, that's a gay male. I'll be the one to tell you. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't care if he denies it. I don't care if he says this. I don't care. He gay. Okay, just leave. All right. That's why I said at the beginning of this live, the first thing, and because if you don't have this, you're going to have to get it. Because I know a lot of women don't have this. Okay. You doubt yourself too much. Don't ever doubt yourself. If you learn how to trust yourself, if you learn how to trust your instincts and your intuition, you can't really go wrong as long as you're actually listening to what your instincts and your intuitions are telling you. Okay. Where a lot of women go wrong is usually at the very beginning. Okay. They'll start making excuses for the male. Oh, he just has really close friends. Man, that's a gay male. Okay. Like in the society that we live in the patriarchy that we live in, it's not structured to where this is how straight males feel comfortable behaving. Okay. So if he's behaving in this way, that's not a straight male. That's a gay male. Okay. So the first and foremost thing that you'll have to do is learn to have a high level of self-confidence. Okay. When I was in high school, I don't know why, I don't even remember who said this to me. I don't even remember who said this to me. It was supposed to be like an insult, I guess. Someone said to me, "Why do you walk like that?" And I was like, "What do you mean? How do I walk?" Right. And I don't know if it was a he or she, to be fair, but the person said something like, "Well, you walk with your chest all out. Why do you walk with your chest out?" And I didn't realize I was walking with my chest out. I was just kind of like walking. But now you look at that from a psychological perspective and it's like, oh, when you walk with your chest out, that probably signals to other people that there's a high level of confidence there, and it might trigger other people that might not have that same level of confidence. That's the level of confidence you have to have. Okay. Lest you get stuck with a DL bro. Okay. You have to be 99.99999% confident in your intuition and in just your ability to tell, right?
Most men can't sit on the phone for no hour talking to another dude. It's hard for me to talk to a woman for hours. I want to see you as a person. We can get on the phone, talk, make plans, make arrangements to see each other, and we'll go from there. Me sitting up for hours on the phone talking to another man about this idle chatter, men don't do that. If your man can sit on the phone for hours with his homeboy, just talk about any and everything, he's suspect. Most men can't do that. Sit up there talking on the damn phone with another man for hours. Like women do that. I be wondering how y'all do it. Talk for hours. Girl, gossiping, talking shit about people. Men can't do that. So if your man is able, and it's not a family member, it's not his mama, sister, brother, somebody like that, just his friend or whatever, he able to talk for hours on the phone. Ain't somebody calling him, setting up plans, what you gonna do for the game, where you gonna watch the game at, and talk for 5-10 minutes, make plans, make arrangements, be done with it. That's how men do. If your man sits up for hours on hours at a time, you look at your man like, damn, you be talking to a friend for a long time on the phone. Men don't do that. He's suspect. I ain't guaranteeing he on the download, but you better watch it. Men cannot do that. I cannot sit and talk to no man for no hours on the damn phone. If he ain't no family member or my mom or something like that, I ain't talking on no damn phone for a long time. I ain't gonna do it. And the main thing you need to watch out for, hold on, y'all. And the most important and main thing, the best dead giveaway is if your boyfriend, manhood, or whatever he is, he despises gay people. He hates, especially gay men. He can't, hold on, y'all. And he just always talking about how I can't stand them gay motherfuckers. This is an abomination. They'll be shaming themselves. I can't stand them. I hate them punk. Every time you look around, your man hate gay dudes with a passion. Cause most real men, I don't care about what no God wearing pants. He don't bother me. As long as he over there, he ain't messing with no kids or nothing like that. He grown, he doing what he want to do. More power to him. But your man, for some reason, he despised gay folks, especially gay men. He hated them with a passion, like it'd kill his mama or something. He just hated them. Most straight men ain't sitting around worried about no gay dude. We ain't worried about what some dude wearing panties and makeup, what he doing with his life. We don't care. As a matter of fact, as a straight man, I wouldn't care if all men were gay like me. That's more coochie for me. Now I got my pick of the coochie. But all the other men gay, I wouldn't care. That's more for me. I get all the women now. I ain't got no competition. So if your man is beefing, just despise and hate gay folk with a passion for no reason you can't figure it out, it's because he on the down low. He hates himself because he gay and he don't like it. That's why. So I know I'm probably gonna piss some people out with this video, but it is what it is. Y'all know me by now. So take it how you want.
Y'all, this video, if we look at the comments here. So this one comment says, you'd be surprised that guys who like to call out, suspect, or accuse other males of being DL are or might be suspects themselves. That's not surprising. We covered that in our last DL live. One of the top 10 signs that he was talking about in the last live that we had on this subject is how the guy that seems the most distraught, like he seems the most defensive and like that hates gay people the most, he himself is probably gay, y'all. Like that's 100% true. I had a male here that I hired to build my gazebo. I built a gazebo. I think I posted a picture. If you've been IPGG, you might have seen it, right? Like, I think it was like last year, but I didn't want to like secure it to the floor. So it flew off, you know, the bad weather, it flew off. I had to rebuild it. I had this guy come back over to rebuild this gazebo. And he kept talking about, he felt so comfortable talking about this to me. He kept talking about gay males. I can't believe how gay males can be gay. I love punani. Like, girl, he was like saying all type of stuff. I love punani and this and that and that. And the only thing I could think of is this guy is so gay. He doesn't even know what to do with himself. Like, that's a gay male, you know? And that was like not even provoked. It just kind of like, I don't know how that came up, you know, but they get really like defensive and start really pushing back against nobody. It's like, what are you even like? So those types of guys, that's a DL male. And I feel like, you know, especially as a young lady, if you care if your male is DL, you should probably ask something, bring up something in the conversation that has to do with gay males and see how he reacts. Just bring it up casually and see how he reacts. Most males, unfortunately, another thing I'll say is most males are DL for the most part, right? So the first thing I always say, and this is unfortunate, but I always say, you know, if you really, really want to be a lot safer from this, maybe consider not dating. I don't know how to say this kind of like in a nice way, but I want to like keep it real with y'all. Maybe consider not dating, you know, Black males. That might reduce your chances, but it's not really gonna do all, like, because most males in general seek validation from other males, regardless of race, right? So you might be able to reduce it a little bit by doing that, but you're still gonna be faced with this issue where, you know, societally speaking, most males are looking when they're looking for validation, they're looking for it from other males, and that ends up turning most of these guys gay. You know, like they're, you know, so desperate for the validation, they end up kind of turning gay. You know, so you got to be careful when it comes to that, right? Let's see. So this comment says, I thought of dating The thought of dating makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm sick of the games. I'd rather just be alone. So yeah, a lot of women are just kind of really turned off by it, right? And I say this all the time. I feel like the gay males are fine as long as they're out in the open and everyone knows what they are. The DL males are very, very, very despicable in nature. And we'll talk about more why I always say that. Why I always call them degenerates. I always call them despicable. And I touch base a little bit on why. We're going to go a little bit deeper into the psychological aspect as to why as we go along, because there's even more to it that maybe you might have not have thought of, right? So yeah, that's true. Got to especially watch out for those dudes, for those guys who have done a lot of time in. Girl, do not date a male that's been in prison. If he's been in prison, he's 99.999%. There's a 99.999% chance that this is a gay male if he's been in prison. So, ladies, especially youngins, okay, do a background check no matter who it is. Do a background check so you can see what's in the background, okay? You got to see what's in the background. Also, if you really care about this, and I would, for me, I would also hire a private investigator. And I would do that. I would do this background check, hire a private investigator. I would say like no more than like 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks after talking to this male, if you're interested in this male. And why am I setting a time limit on that? Because I know, like, women are very delusional by nature. Women are you're just delusional. Okay. So the more you like the male, the less you will do. The more emotionally invested you get in the male, the less women tend to do to protect themselves. Okay. What women start doing is they start kind of deluding themselves. They'll start making excuses. And every day you do that, like that's one day that goes by and another day that's more that you're investing each day emotionally. Okay. So you have to do it early. Like you got to do it early. Okay. Like if you're like, oh, we've been on like 3 dates. I really like this guy. Let me make sure there's nothing crazy as of right now that I need to know. Okay. You got to do the background check. And I would even say you probably don't, in today's 2025, today, you don't want to date a male without having enough money to pay for a private investigator. So if you don't have enough, if you say to yourself, I want to go back on a dating scene, I want to date these males, but you look in your bank account and you don't have enough money to hire a private investigator, you're not ready. You're not ready. And another thing you'll notice, once you put this kind of like standard on yourself, okay, you'll naturally become a lot more selective. Okay. Because what does it take to hire a private investigator? Money. Okay. You're going to have to spend money on that. So you're going to probably think 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Is this someone I'm really actually considering? Or is this just someone that's good for the moment? Or is this someone that could actually be something like long-term, right? So put restrictions on yourself that tie directly back to your money. Okay. All right. So when you mentally do that and you set standards for yourself, you set standards for your own self, other people will follow because they don't really have a choice. The standards are set for yourself. Other people will have to follow those standards because they won't have a choice if you're serious about your own standards. So I say, in my opinion, if you're still dealing with males, if you're a youngin, if you're, because I can't, I'm not a Nazi. I'm not going to tell y'all like, do this, do that. Take my advice if you want to. Don't if you don't, but I work with a lot of women. I have a lot of clients who are women, and I have clients that are males too. And let me tell you something. The amount of males that come into my office, that come to us because they need help with the fact that like, and we'll go into this, let me not say too much, but they need help with the fact that like, for whatever reason, they're not able to be aroused by the women that they're with, or they're not, y'all. It's we'll go into it as we go through, y'all. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Do a background check, okay? And make sure you have enough money. Even if I don't care if you're 20 years old, go work at Starbucks somewhere and save up the money if it's that serious. If this is something you care about, if you're just dating him for the money and you don't care if he's gay, then that's different. But most women do care. So if this is something that you care about, background check, A1, pay the money, pay like the $70 for like the in-depth background check. And then secondly, hire a private investigator. And do it early. Don't wait 2 months, 3 months, because then you're going to be stuck having to potentially explain to this guy why you hired a private investigator on him. But if you do it early, like 3 weeks in or 4 weeks in, and nothing comes up in the private investigation, then it's easier for you to like get out of that. You could literally just tell him, oh yeah, I hired a private investigator. I like to be safe, like I like to make sure because I'm very skeptical about that in today's day and age. You could literally get out of it like that because you did it early, right? But if you wait to do it later, he's probably going to gaslight you. He's going to tell you all this other stuff that has nothing to do with anything. So yeah, do it early. Anyways, let's move on to the next content, because I feel like that was a good opener because we have to know these things. And again, for those that might not know, for the youngins that might not know, listen, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay. DL males that are on the down low are gay. Okay. Because a lot of like within the LGBTQ and all this stuff, one of the things that they'll say to themselves is, no, they're not gay. They're not gay because they still would only do it with a trans, or they only do it for fun. Look, if they're sleeping with other males, they gay. Point blank and period. Okay. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Start there, and then you think for yourself if that's something that you're okay with. But you have to work with facts. You can't work with like the delusions of, like people being delusional. Work with facts and then determine what your next step is going to be, what you're comfortable with based off of that. That way you're less likely to regret it in the future. Okay. Because if you work with delusion, what happens 99.99% of the time is you're going to end up regretting it because you were delusional. Okay. You weren't being honest with yourself. You weren't being honest with your situation. You weren't being honest with this person's situation. And then you just end up regretting it and wasting a lot of time. Okay. Be honest with yourself from the get-go. That's the only way. Let me see if there's any other comments here. This guy said, oh, I don't know if it's a guy. I'm secure in my manhood, that part. Okay, I got you. Facts. Real men don't argue every other day. That's the argument. It's like, because arguing takes a lot of emotional investment. So no, they don't. They don't have all that emotion to give. Like, they're not going to sit there and do that. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and...
Gay women.
That continues to be debated. You have to understand the scientific issue is...
Hold on, y'all. Let me pull this up. That is so loud. I think that's better quality, y'all, but that is so loud on my end.
Gay women.
That continues to be debated. You have to understand the scientific...
Okay.
Does homosexuality continue at all?
Why is it not deleted out of the gene pool?
Nature is against it since it doesn't reproduce. There are genes that predict homosexuality. It's not a particular gay gene, as they were once saying. And the interesting finding is that the siblings of the gays has more sexual partners than the average man. The super manly man who only is entirely masculine in all his traits, he doesn't relate to women all that well. So,
honestly. Oh, gosh. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get it to play the way that I wanted to on here.
Why do you think it is that there's more gay men than gay women?
That continues to be debated. You have to understand the scientific issue is how does homosexuality continue at all?
Why is it not deleted out of the gene pool?
Nature is against it since it doesn't reproduce. There are genes that predict homosexuality. It's not a particular gay gene, as they were once saying. And the interesting finding is that the siblings of the gays has more partners than the average man. The super manly man who only is entirely masculine in all his traits, he doesn't relate to women all that well. So it becomes a hit the middle problem. You want to have more of these genes, which will produce more feminine traits in the man, but maybe beyond a certain amount, maybe a high amount, then turns him to where he'd be more attracted to other men. But the same configuration of genes, just a little bit on the other side of the border, produces extra children by making the others more attractive, and that's enough to keep the genes replenished in each generation, so it will continue to appear.
Why? I think in the gay community, we prioritize short-term.
Okay, let's listen to that again, because like a lot of people in the comments section were very confused by what this guy was saying. I don't know why.
Over long-term gain, meaning that we...
Oh my God, what the...
How does homosexuality continue at all?
Why is it not deleted out of the gene pool?
Nature is against it since it doesn't reproduce. There are genes that predict homosexuality. It's not a particular gay gene, as they were once saying. And the interesting finding is that the siblings of the gays has more partners than the average man. The super manly man who only is entirely masculine in all his traits, he doesn't relate to women all that well. So it becomes a hit the middle problem. You want to have more of these genes, which will produce more feminine traits in the man, but maybe beyond a certain amount, maybe a high amount, then turns him to where he'd be more attracted to other men. But the same configuration of genes, just a little bit on the other side of the border, produces extra children by making the others more attractive, and that's enough to keep the genes replenished in each generation, so it will continue to appear.
Why? I think in the gay community, we prioritize...
All right, so basically, actually, let me see something here. Hi, Tabby. Thanks for joining. Hi, Tabby. Hi, Miss Markin. Thanks for joining. I think I already said hi to Vet Victoria. And so can me. Let me see some of y'all's, like, let me see. Oh, yeah. So can be. Absolutely. A background check is good for pedos and sadists as well. Bingo. Because, when you do a background check, it's not like you're looking for just like, oh, this guy got a ticket because he's speeding or whatever, or this guy like stole something from Walmart or whatever. You're looking for serious infractions, right? You're looking for, look, is this guy on the pedo list? Like, which you would be surprised. Like on my Ring app, there's like the community and everyone's always posting all this stuff in the community and stuff like that. And one of the posts that we see a lot is warnings. It's like people posting warnings like, hey, the cop came to my door. The cops knocked on my door and they're looking for this guy because he's on the wanted list for being a pedo. Okay. So you'll never, and you also have to understand that like these males, personality wise, these males are very like, they have a very, a lot of them tend to be really good with people. So it's not necessarily naturally, unless you set these standards for yourself, it's not necessarily naturally going to come to your mind to do a background check on this male. Okay. Because a lot of them have kind of like either studied people or they mimic other people very well. So they know what other people would respond to positively. So when they interact with you or anybody else, they'll interact in that exact same way. Okay. So you can't really like say, oh, well, because a lot of women will say this idiocracy. It's very, very dumb. I got to tell you, right? He didn't seem like it. He didn't look like it. He didn't. Yeah, I'm sure. Because that's literally the whole point. How can you be a pedo in peace if you look like a pedo? How can you be a DL male in peace if it's like blatantly obvious to everyone and anyone that you are literally gay? You know, that would defeat the purpose, right? So logical thinking, right? So these individuals tend to put in extra work. They put in even more work, right, to make sure that they blend in, to make sure that they're able to keep the facade going. So it's not going to naturally come to your mind to do a background check. Okay. These are things that you got to write down, and you got to set them as standards for yourself. And you got to say, okay, these are the things that I'm going to do. And even if you're with a male 2 years, 3 years, you're probably going to have to do it every 2 years or every 3 years, because you never know what's going on in the minds of people. So you're going to want to do a background check. You're going to want to want to hire, if you're dealing with a male, because the numbers are so high. It's just the numbers are too high. So it makes it to where you can't really, it's not in your best interest to take these unnecessary risks if you care about these things, right? And a lot of women don't pay attention to their intuition. So a good way around that, if you're not sure, if you're not clear, is to do a background check, and is to hire a private investigator, okay? And you want to make sure to do that every 3 years or so. Okay. I would do it every 2 to 3 years. I really would, no matter how long the relationship lasts, because, a lot of males wait until they really trap you in that relationship dynamic before they start YOLOing it out. Like, a lot of them will wait. A lot of them will really focus on you. A lot of them will really tell you what you want to hear. Now you're living together. Now you have all these things together. And then when they feel comfortable that you're in it, right, then they start with all the shenanigans. Okay. So you have to kind of build safeguards in place. So many stories that have come up where, we have 2 children, we have a whole home, and I just found out he's gay, and I just found out he's DL, right? He's a pedo. Okay. So one of the main rules I always remind ladies of is, look, the earlier, the better, because by nature, you are at a disadvantage with all of this emotion. You're at a disadvantage. And so if you keep yourself in there with this, interacting with this individual, building all of these emotional connections, you're screwed. You're going to be in there. You're going to be stuck in there. You're not going to know. You're not going to be able to really see a way out. It's going to be really, really hard for you to see a way out, right? The sooner, the better. Okay. So that's what I always say as well. Oh, yeah. And what he's explaining. So that's what I forgot. Maybe we should listen to it again, because I wonder, do you guys kind of have an idea? I'll ask y'all, do y'all have an idea of what he's trying to say? Because in the comments section of this, they were so confused. They were like, what is he talking about? He sounds crazy. He sounds like he doesn't know what he's saying. Like, I don't understand. Basically what they were saying is, I don't understand what he's trying to say. What does that mean? Right? So do y'all have an idea of what he's trying to say? I'm going to run it back.
Why do you think it is that there's more gay men than gay women?
That continues to be debated. You have to understand the scientific issue is, how does homosexuality continue at all?
Why is it not deleted out of the gene pool?
Nature is against it since it doesn't reproduce. There are genes that predict homosexuality. It's not a particular gay gene, as they were once saying. And the interesting finding is that the siblings of the gays has more partners than the average man. The super manly man who only is entirely masculine in all his traits, he doesn't relate to women all that well. So it becomes a hit the middle problem. You want to have more of these genes, which will produce more feminine traits in the man, but maybe beyond a certain amount, maybe a high amount, then turns him to where he'd be more attracted to other men. But the same configuration of genes, just a little bit on the other side of the border, produces extra children by making the others more attractive. And that's enough to keep the genes replenished in each generation, so it will continue to appear.
Why? I think in the gay community, we prioritize.
Do y'all have an idea of what he's basically trying to explain here? Hold on, let me pause this here. Okay. So basically, put it in the comments if y'all have an idea of what he's basically saying, what he's basically trying to explain. Okay. Meanwhile, while I kind of wait to see what y'all think, because I don't want to say it and then I could talk about anything related to psychology all day long, every day, all day. So while I'm seeing to see what y'all's thoughts are or what y'all's thoughts might be, one thing that I've seen quite a bit from, and it's kind of sad, right? Like I will see often that these gay, like a lot of gay males will almost like bully younger women, and because when you're younger, you're still experiencing the world, you're still trying to get an idea of what you think about the world and the world around you. You're more impressionable, or you could be, or you might be more impressionable. So even though you might think, oh, that's weird, I wouldn't be comfortable with a DL, with a guy that's on the DL, because this is something that I saw this on TikTok, which is what brought it to my mind, and I wanted to cover it here because I had to I guess I didn't have to, but I did, and I stepped in that post because she posted, I think I included it, actually I included it here. She posted, this young lady posted that, like, look, it's not that I'm against you guys or anything, but I just feel like, DL males should be honest about what they are, so that way women have a right to choose. And she had an influx of males or people from the LGBTQ, or telling her that she's the one that has lost her mind. There were so many comments on there that I know, based off of her responses, that they were actively bullying her, kind of like actively bullying her into thinking what they wanted her to think, because this is a youngin that is still experiencing the world. And one of the things that irritates me, I don't know, well, maybe I do know why, but one of the things that irritates me the most is a bully. I can't stand a bully. I actually have a little bit of a temper when it comes to certain things. Okay. So I had to dive into the comments section because, first of all, everything they were saying didn't even make any sense. What does that have to do with her saying her thoughts out loud? Like, hey, you should probably be honest. It's not fair to all these lives that you're ruining. And now you're jumping in her comment section telling her that she's just labeling her, calling her names. She's homophobic. She's this. And now she's having to resend. Hi, Guilty Angel. How are ya? I don't know if I said hi earlier. Guilty Angel says, I have a temper against bullies as well. Yeah, my temper when it comes to bullies, y'all, we were in the bus. I actually have three brothers, right? I was in the school bus. This was like when I was in high school with my younger brother, and he was getting bullied. And I don't know what came over me. Like, I got in that guy's face. I was like, how dare you do. And you know what was funny? Like, he literally he shrunk, it was so funny. So one of my biggest pet peeves is that. So I was in, I had to get in there because that was the first thing. And secondly, nothing they were saying made any sense, right? So for the youngins out there, okay, there's nothing wrong with living, believing what you believe based off of objective truth. Because one of the things that you'll find in these types of communities is that they ignore objective truth. They ignore objective realities because they have to, okay? When the objective truth and the objective reality does not connect with what you would like, with what you would want, right? Then you don't really have a choice but to adapt the objective reality, take it in and accept it, or ignore it. Okay. So you can think however you want to think without feeling like you have to be pressured. If anyone's telling you, calling you names just because you think what you think or believe what you believe, that's a red flag. Why are you so determined about this? Why are you so pushy about it? What is the problem? Are you trying to prove it to yourself, or are you trying to prove it to me? Because it sounds like you're just trying to make yourself feel better. Where is that coming from? Right? So I responded on behalf of this young lady because that's one of the things that I have against the LGBTQ community, is that they are very, like, they operate very much like bullies. You know, a lot of them do. And so it makes me very uncomfortable. And that makes me very uncomfortable. Although there's a lot of like gay guys, as long as they're out in the open, that I think they're great. Like I said, like in one of my gym classes, the teacher that I have, he's gay, he's awesome. Probably my favorite class is his class, you know, but within the community as a whole, in and of itself, I don't like that they operate like bullies. It's a pet peeve of mine. Okay. And they'll throw out labels, homophobic, this, that. Like, I literally don't even care about these labels. It is what it is. You could call me what you want. That's how I feel. That's what I think about it. Piss off, agree, or piss off. You know, like, there's nothing else I can say to you. That is my attitude towards it. But a lot of women aren't like that. They don't have that, society hasn't conditioned them to have that type of standard, right? So they know that, and they go around kind of like praying. It's mostly the men too. Unfortunately, I'll just keep it like, I'll be honest, it's mostly males that exhibit this behavior. I've never really seen it's very rare, unless they're really young. I don't really see like women, even if they are a part of that community, exhibiting this behavior. It's mostly males that I see exhibiting this behavior. That's just my observation. But anyways, back to this, right? So with this video, basically what he's saying, let me see if y'all said anything. So I just make sure not to miss it. Yeah. Guilty angel. I can't even read that out loud. Yeah. Every time males say girls are the worst bullies, I get pissed off. Yeah. Bullies are my number one pet peeve. So I can't stand a bully. And I will become the worst bully that you could possibly think of. You would be surprised if I'm having to deal with someone that I perceive as a bully. I can't take it. Okay, so it's very irritating. So with this video, basically what he's saying, y'all, so another part of the psychology of DL males that you're going to want to keep in mind is that a lot of DL males, or even gay males in general, are it's genetic, right? So basically what he's saying is there are some genetics that we've seen that could be correlated with gay males or males being gay. That's basically what he's saying, is that, look, there have been studies that have been done, and there are some studies that show that there might be some things that we could use in order to be able to determine the reason behind males being gay or DL, right? So that's basically what he's saying. He's also saying, the very obvious thing that I say, I don't know if I say it all the time, but I've said it several times before, which is, look, no offense to the gay males, okay? But nature does not support it. Okay, that's what he's saying. He's saying nature does not support it, because if nature supported it, you would be able to reproduce. But you're not able to reproduce. Why? Because nature does not support it, and that's obvious. So that's basically all what he's saying, is like, okay, it's not supported by nature. Nature doesn't support it because they can't reproduce, right? So why does it exist? Basically, they're asking, so why does it exist if nature doesn't support it? What is going on there, right? And so he's basically explaining, like, well, I mean, one of the reasons that it exists is because, nature, through the evolution of nature has been trying to kind of get a little bit of a better balance, when it comes to the woman and the male, right? And if a better balance is not achieved, then the species as a whole doesn't have a chance of continuing. Why? Because males, if they have no estrogen, nothing that's like women related when it comes to like their hormones, right? Then they go off to the far extreme, and they're super manly, super like, just like, they have nothing in common with women. So how can the woman then reproduce with the male when they have nothing in common? They would just clash continuously, and then reproduction can't continue. Okay, so what nature has been doing throughout the years is trying to increase the commonality when it comes to hormones between the males and the females. Okay, which is why sometimes these males are born with too much of the female traits and they end up gay. Okay, and he's also saying it's a form also of nature to not only weed out certain genes that are not wanted, because again, if you're a gay male, you can't reproduce, right? So the idea is that should kind of weed a lot of them out, okay? Which is why a lot of them end up having to, listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. This is why a lot of them end up lying to you, okay? Because they want to make sure to reproduce, okay? And when you reproduce, these are the genes that you're bringing here, okay? You're bringing his genes. And when you use his genes, okay, you are literally almost 100 times more likely to end up with a gay male. And that's how we end up with more and more gay males. Okay, let me repeat that. Okay, the gay males subconsciously, a lot of times consciously, need and want to reproduce. By nature, nature does not want these gay males reproducing, which is why they are not able to do so with each other. Okay, so when they get with you, one of the biggest reasons they lie to you is so you will reproduce with them, so they can reproduce. Okay, that's why you'll hear a lot of women say, yeah, we have 2 kids, this and that, and now you just brought this kids here that you just reproduced these genes that were never really meant to be reproduced by nature. We weren't really meant to have as many gay males. Some, yes, but not as many as we have today. Not as many as we have today, right? So it's almost like, you know, it's almost like a protective mechanism that nature has in place in order to protect the gene pool in a lot of ways, okay? Because that's the whole point, right? Males are not able to reproduce with other males and vice versa, okay? So when you bring these children here and you reproduce with a gay male, that tends to be a problem because it just goes against nature. That's basically what he's saying, right? Now, by nature, also, a lot of males, most males, if not all males, well, not all of them, but most of them, like in the 90th percentile of them, subconsciously will want their genetics to continue regardless of whether or not they're gay. Okay, they want their genetics to continue. So when you have several kids, what he's saying is nature kind of spreads it out, right? So you might have a kid that's like really good looking, and then you might have the gay kid, and then you might have, you know, so all of these things kind of give you different chances of making sure that the genetics continue, okay, with these kids, right? Except for, of course, the gay male, right? So he's almost like, and I think a lot of the comments caught on to this part maybe, but he's almost like, he's almost saying that the males that are gay they weren't really supposed to come out that way, which I've said this before also in my podcast before even seeing this. It's almost like a defect, right? Like they weren't really supposed to come out gay, but when they come out with too much of the woman, right, you know, they end up gay, right? So it's almost like it's like a defect of some sort by nature. That's basically what he's saying, right? So that's basically, I think that's the bulk of that.
Why do you think it is that there's more gay men than gay women?
That continues to be debated. You have to understand the scientific issue is how does homosexuality continue at all?
Why is it not deleted out of the gene pool?
Nature is against it since it doesn't reproduce. There are genes that predict homosexuality. It's not a particular gay gene, as they were once saying. And the interesting finding is that the siblings of the gays has more partners than the average man. The super manly man who only is entirely masculine in all his traits, he doesn't relate to women all that well. So it becomes a hit the middle problem. You want to have more of these genes, which will produce more feminine traits in the man, but maybe beyond a certain amount, maybe a high amount, then turns him to where he'd be more attracted to other men. But the same configuration of genes, just a little bit on the other side of the border, produces extra children by making the others more attractive. And that's enough to keep the genes replenished in each generation, so it will continue to appear.
Why?
I think in the gay community, we prioritize short-term gain over long-term gain, meaning that we prioritize the excitement and fun and thrill and pleasure of short-term sex, which is great, over the rewards that you get from a long-term committed relationship.
A lot of these straight men
Okay, pause there. So this is a gay male, and I say this all the time. Like these are things that openly gay males, a lot of them will tell you. Why? Because they've done the work. They're open about what they like, so they'll be honest with you. I even say, and I think I posted it in the community section. Look, if you have a hard time telling whether or not a male is gay, get a gay male friend. Okay, that's better for you to run it through your gay male friend than to keep talking to a male, dating a male that's probably literally gay on the DL. Okay. So he's saying, why is that? So what did he say? That was kind of like a short clip, right? But basically what he's saying here is like in their community, they have a rampant problem with males being able to be in long-term committed relationships. Okay. Psychologically speaking, that speaks to the lack of self-control aspect, right? And that's going to go into some of the other things that we're going to talk about as to DL males specifically. Okay. But basically what he's saying is, okay, there's a problem here because most males that are gay, that are on the DL, that are in this community, don't even want long-term relationships. They don't even want to be with just one person. They kind of just want the short-term relationships, and that's it. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to point this out is, especially for youngins and young ladies, that's not a male that you want regardless. Okay. So if he's mistreating you, if he's gaslighting you, if he's insulting you, okay, this is not a male that even wants clearly a long-term relationship, right? So all of these things, believe it or not, are signs that, look, you might be dealing with a DL male, with a guy that's gay, and you're sitting here thinking, is it another woman? Is it this? Is it that? No, he gay. Okay. So he's literally telling y'all, ladies, he's telling you, okay, so all you have to do is listen, okay? Within their own community, the males don't want anything long term. A lot of them, if not most of them, want short term amusement and excitement, okay? That is not something that you would want for yourself regardless if you're dating some male, I would assume, right? So you got to think about that and then connect that to the fact that like they are DL in the first place, right? Connect that to the first video that we watched where we see it's against nature. So if it's against nature, well, one of the things that tells us is, that's not the way that's supposed to work. Okay, so it makes sense that most of them that are in that community, especially the DL males, right? It makes sense that they wouldn't be looking for something long-term. They wouldn't be looking for something stable. They just want something short-term, exciting, and that covers most of them, apparently, right? So keep that in mind. Let me see if I can rerun that and then. Hi, of course. Thanks for joining. I just saw that. Hi, of course. Thanks for joining.
Is more attractive, and that's enough to keep the genes replenished in each generation, so it will continue to appear.
Why?
I think in the gay community, we prioritize short-term gain over long-term gain, meaning that we prioritize the excitement and fun and thrill and pleasure of short-term sex, which is great, over the rewards that you get from a long-term committed relationship.
A lot of these straight men are gay. Trust me, go and talk to any gay man, they'll tell you. They will tell you they're all over their Snapchat, they're hooking up with them in private, and then threatening them, you better not tell anyone, or I'll do you again. You know what I mean? Like, they are gay. Let me tell you, I've got an ex, went through his Facebook Messenger, and he's talking to a gay guy, and it's the gay guy's talking about putting his whatever in his mouth, and they're like, it's like blatant sexting. So I pulled him up on it, and he was like, oh, it's a bit of banter, I know the guy. And I'm like, it's not banter. It's not banter. First of all, why are you private messaging him? You barely know him. Like, especially about what he's saying he wants to do to you, and you're going along with it, like flirting with him and stuff. And he was like, no, it's just a joke. No, you're gay. You're gay. Well, you're either gay or you're bi. I mean, I don't care. Anyone can be gay or bi. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother most people in 2024. But I'm telling you, some men will take it to the grave. And a lot of these men be gay in 2024. And they're dating women. And they'll have kids with women. They'll marry women. And they'll continue to have a sex life with men. Honestly. Stop questioning your self-worth whenever you're dating someone and he like binge you off, because there's a high chance these days that it's just because you don't have a penis.
How far would you drive?
Okay. He's gay. If he another thing that I suggest, honestly, because this is the thing, if you want a male, you're going to be this is going to be a lot of work for you. If you want a male just because you want a male and you want a relationship, not because you're dating him for his money, for example, so you don't really care about him, you're going to have a hard, you're going to have to get used to really increasing. It's going to be tough, right? Because another thing that you'll probably have to do, what did she say? She said she went through his Facebook. She went through his Facebook and then found all of these guys that he was messaging with. That's going to have to be a part of your standard protocol. It really will be, because you just never know. You just never know. So you could think that you're dating the straightest guy on earth. Meanwhile, this whole time he's on Grindr. I tell women, get a Grindr account and search for him on the Grindr account. Get a Grindr account. Search for him on the Grindr account, okay? And then make sure that you have like the access to the Facebook, which is not even it's not really healthy to have this level of scrutiny. But in today's day and age, given that most of these males are gay, it's a shame, because I think the patriarchy has really, really done society a disservice. Because we're not supposed to have this many here. There's not supposed to be this many. Nature does not support it. It's not supported by nature. Nothing against gay or this or that, nature doesn't support gay males, and specifically. And I say specifically males because, and I've said this before, unfortunately for the males, I don't know if they'll ever admit or just come to the acceptance that the same rules they really just don't apply to women. Those same rules don't really apply to women. Why? Because for whatever reason, the way it's set up within nature is that most of these diseases, AIDS, HIV, most of the diseases, if not all of the diseases, who is giving it to women? It's not women giving the diseases to other women. It is a male that will give the woman the disease. So essentially the male ends up the walking disease, you know? So this is just how it's set up, right? And I know a lot of males get upset about that. They get mad about that because they feel like, well, women are, they start competing with women. That's another sign that he's probably gay, right? They start competing with women. Well, women, why are women allowed to do this? And why are women allowed to do that? Look, sir, this is just the way, this is just nature. Okay. The consequences are like little to none. If a woman is dealing with another woman exclusively, there's really like not as many literal, like life-threatening consequences versus a woman dealing with a male that's gay and sleeping with other males. That's just the way that it is. That's, you know, so a lot of these diseases that we have today, that's how it's being spread. It's in the statistics, right? If we look at the data, we look at like even the data from the US, from the US in and of itself, right? That keeps track of. I posted it a while back, actually, this exact same statistic. I took a screenshot and posted it in the community section. Okay, it's males. That's where it's coming from. So, fortunately or unfortunately, males, the rules are not equal when it comes to how nature has it set up. It's probably that way for a reason. Okay. So it's not, there's nothing in it for a woman to be with a DL male. There's nothing in it. If she's with a DL male or if she's with a gay male, it's probably because she's over emotional, because it's so risky that it ends up not making any sense, logically speaking, right? It's just so risky for her. It's like totally, completely unnecessary, right? So that's one of the biggest things I think from hers is like, get a Grindr account, get a Facebook account. Maybe even post his pictures, because there's certain Facebook communities. You can just post his picture up there real quick, see if anyone recognizes him within the gay community. Get a gay friend, run him through the test with your gay friend. You're going to have to, especially, I think it's always been this way, but now that we are starting to actually get proof and see it, especially in 2025, like, oh, it's true, most of these males are actually gay. You're going to have to start getting used to doing these things routinely if you're dealing with a male on that level, right? You want to date him, you want to marry him, you want to live with him, then this is what is in your best interest. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there looking stupid, like one of those women. Oh, I didn't know, like, I just found out, like, and now you're 2 kids in and you've added to this problem, right? So let's listen to this story, because y'all, this story is insane. Let me see what y'all. Yeah, so Soaking Big says the STDs and SEX spreads STDs more easily, and males don't properly even clean down there or wash down there. Yeah, I don't even know that there's any amount of cleaning, like, because literally that's where the dookie, it's always kind of surprised me, because you dookie out of that hole. Like, that's where dookie comes out from. It's definitely not what that's not what you're supposed to be using that for at all, because dookie comes out of there. You know what I'm saying? But according to a lot of studies, what makes males like orgasm, you know, I'm saying it like that because, like, I already know this is going to be probably demonetized. Okay. But, you know, what makes males get off, I guess, is located in their butthole. So that might be why. But yeah, it's just, there's a lot of diseases that come with that. So for a woman, it's not in your best interest, you know. Guilty angel. Yeah, as a woman, it's not in your best interest to go down that route. It's not even worth it. Like, honestly, that's why, and they know it. The males know it. Like, the males know that, look, if we start being honest with these women, like, a lot of them, if not most of them, are going to be like, well, never mind, let's just be friends. Because there's a lot of women, I've never really seen a woman get upset about that. If you just tell her, she's just like, oh, okay, well, not really into that, but, you know, we could be friends if you want. That's really the attitude of most women. So then you start thinking, then why do these males keep lying? Like, what is the purpose of lying? It's because they're selfish. And that's one of the reasons why I call them degenerates all the time, because the lack of empathy is on surreal levels. It's because they don't care. So if you don't care about yourself, they're not going to do it. No one else is going to do it. Okay. So any little sign, especially now in 2025, with all this information out there, any little sign that you have, like, oh, this male is gay, be gone. You're out of there. Okay. Because it's not worth your health. It's not worth the risk. And so many of them are gay and DL. And I think the video is about to come up where we talk about, like, one of the biggest reasons why, especially from a psychological perspective. So listen to me carefully. I'm going to go ahead and say it because I'm not 100% confident. Like, I don't remember what video is coming up next. Like, has it passed when I was supposed to say this? So listen to me carefully, right? Males that are on the DL, here's the secret. Males that are on the DL, okay, they literally get off. They get aroused from your pain and your trauma. It's literally, psychologically speaking, they literally get turned on from your pain and from your trauma. And I just remembered the video that goes with. So it's not here yet, but we'll talk more about that when that video comes up. It's about to come up here in a little bit. But just keep that in mind, that if something arouses you, okay, then that's especially for a male that already lacks self-control, then that's what you're going to do. So these males literally get aroused by you not knowing, and by the potential of you getting traumatized if you do find out. Okay. It's a very, very, like, it's like getting aroused by someone's distress or pain. So from a psychological perspective, I know that might be like a lot to take in, but it is a form of, it's part of their sexual play. Okay. It's part of, like, the whole thing that gets them turned on to begin with. Okay. It literally turns them on, which is why they'll be with you while knowing and sleeping with other males. Okay. So the easiest way I can put this is they literally get off. They literally get off from your pain and from your trauma. And what did I say at the beginning of this video? A lot of these traits, you don't really have to be super genius to see, because they come up in other areas of their lives as well. It's not just in just this one area that it's going to come up. Okay. For example, if you're dealing with a male and you told this male, oh, I'm really like, that's one thing that happened to me when I was younger. It really traumatized me. Like, he said my hair was ugly or whatever, and it was so traumatizing, right? And next thing you know, 3 months later, he's like, why is your hair so ugly? Okay. So it can come up in different ways. And if you see those type of signs, just understand that, look, you might be dealing with a male that's gay, and he might not even have, like, he might have not even have admitted it to himself yet that he's gay. Okay. But one of the main things about why males are DL, okay, from a psychological perspective, okay, is they literally get off. They get off from your pain and or from the potential of leaving that lasting impact, that trauma. Okay. It's like exciting that's what's exciting to them. Okay. So if they were to be just honest with you, there's no fun in it for them anymore. So you got to think, okay, but what's the fun to begin with? What's the fun? Is it hiding it? What's the fun to begin with? No, the fun in and of itself is not the hiding part necessarily. It's the fact that you might catch them, right? It's the pain that they could, like, it's like a control thing. Okay. When you inflict pain, when you have the capability of inflicting that level of pain and trauma on someone, what's happening? Well, that means you have a certain level of control over that person. Okay. And so they get off from that. Okay. I know that's a lot, but just keep that in mind. So it kind of, it's this whole thing, but I picked that one specifically to bring up here because I don't know. I don't think a lot of people know that, right? I don't think a lot of people know that that's the case. So let's kind of go into this story. This is wild. I put this story in here because it's like a really good example of a DL male and how women think and delude themselves and start talking all crazy and stuff when the male that they're probably dealing with is totally gay. Hi, Original Aquarius entity. How are ya? I feel like your name was different before, wasn't it? I like that name too, Original Aquarius. I like that. So she says, yeah, just like Shannon Sharp, he hates women because he's DL. Oh, yeah. Girl. I said that at the beginning of this video. I said Shannon Sharp is DL. That male is gay. That's a gay male. And I will say that with my whole chest until the end of time. That guy is full on gay. And I'm rarely wrong. I'm not really wrong about anything like that. Shannon Sharp dude, he just got sued again, didn't he? He got sued by like a third person, I think, right? He just got sued again. That's a gay male. That male is gay. Full on, point blank, period. Yep. Point blank, that, like, and I said that in my last live too. I was like, any male, y'all, oh my God, especially youngins, any male that asks you, like he's asking you to do stuff with your back door, any male, any male, there's no like 99.999%, dang near 100% of the time. If this male asks you to do stuff with your back door and you're not the one saying, oh, let's experiment, let's do that, he gay. I would suggest to you to move on, okay? Lest you end up with contracting some random disease from this guy, right? So if he's asking you for that, because like you got to think about it, like a straight male is not going to be thinking about that. Like they're just not going to think about stuff like that. But if it's a male that enjoys the back door, like, okay, males have the back door too, and they just don't traumatize yourself. I try to tell y'all stuff before you actually traumatize yourself, because that's how I do. That's how I, like, if I see any of this, gone. Okay. So don't traumatize yourself. If he asks for that, he gay. But yeah, Shannon Sharp, girl. Oh my God. I could talk about that because I'm like, when it comes to news and gossip, I'm like, oh, no, like what? He's gay for sure. He gay for sure, for sure. Yep. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's see this girl. She's so like, girl, what? Okay, let me know.
To meet a guy for a date. Because someone else doesn't have to. Or would you
stop questioning your self-worth whenever you're dating someone and he like binge you off? Because there's a high chance these days that it's just because you don't have a penis.
How far would you drive to meet a guy for a date? So I'm sharing the mistakes that I made so that hopefully someone else doesn't have to learn like the hard way like I did. But so, I meet this guy on a dating app and we were getting along really well. We eventually like moved off the app and I shared my phone number and we were talking every day for like at least a week. And so he had talked about like coming to see me. So he lived in Houston, which was like 4 hours away from me. So it was like a little bit of like an arrangement, like planning needing to be made, right? And so he plans to come see me. And then like right before the trip, he says like his car broke down and it's in the shop. And so he didn't know when it would be fixed. So I was like, oh, that's fine. Like maybe I can come to you, right? Because we were getting along really well. And he was like, I would love it if you could do that. So at first I was like, do I really want to drive to like meet this guy? Like, is that a little bit weird? Do I look, thirsty or some type of way going to go meet him? But I also wanted to be understanding, because I do understand like things happen. And it just so happened to be like a weekend where we were both going to be free. And I was working like 7 days a week, guys. So like having that weekend free, like was like my window. So it's like Friday and I'm like, I can just go see him.
Having the weekend free is your window, and you spend it trying to drive to some degenerate male. So this is how, while y'all are listening to this, because I'm a Gemini, so I got to bring up both sides, because women, too delusional. We have to we're doing a good progress, but we still have too many delusional women out here. Look how she's literally convincing herself. It's not even the male that's having to do any of the convincing. She's literally convincing her own self into making a terrible decision. It's your only weekend. You could go to the spa. You could literally get a massage. Baby, I would be like, I'm going to get some boba. There's your only weekend, babes. What? And she's literally convincing herself to go see this male that's 4 hours away. She's like, I just want to be understood. Notice what she's saying to youngins. Notice what she's saying to convince herself. I just want to be understanding. I just want to reciprocate. I guess I could understand it. It could happen to anyone, right? When you start thinking like this, just hear me saying you're losing your mind. Come back to reality. Okay. None of that stuff, you're literally putting in all this work, right? And he's not even having to be the one to convince you into making what's going to end up being a terrible decision, right? Yes, Toby and Guilty Angel, Gemini. Okay. So ladies, the delusion, being delusional, we've got to do better, because that's going to just put you in danger. And now you're popping out kids with a male that's gay. Okay. And most of these DL bros, they don't even believe that they're gay. They'll be like, oh, I just use my mouth, so it's technically not gay. Or I just use my hands, so it's technically not gay. We got to you're gay. You're gay. You do anything, any type of interaction with another male, you are a gay male, period. Okay. I don't care if you feel like you want to categorize it just to be a degenerate because you don't want to be honest with women. You don't want to you have no empathy and you're a complete psycho, right? Objectively speaking, that should be your favorite word when talking to one of them. Look, we go based off of objective metrics. Okay. The metrics that we go based off of is objective. We do not go based off of outliers. Okay. We don't go based off of outliers. That's not how that works. Okay. So if we have sex and we have gender, right? So one of the arguments that they like to use the most, right, is well, gender is a social construct. Gender is a social construct. So technically it can be whatever you want. The sex is what's assigned at birth. The sex is what's assigned at birth. Ma'am, sir, okay. The sex is assigned at birth. Gender is a social construct directly based off of the sex that's assigned at birth. That's what it's based off of. That's what society based it off of. Okay. The two go together. Okay. So that's it. That's all. Right. That's how humans communicate. Okay. So you can't really say, well, you can just change it. No, you can't really change it if you can't change the sex part, which is what the gender part is directly linked to. Then you can't really change it, ma'am. What are you talking about? Maybe you could change it within your own group to try to change the gender part, but you still can't change the sex part, right? So it's the same thing, right? So ladies, you got to stop being delusional. You really have to stop being delusional. Stop lying to yourself. I put this in. I was so happy to find this. And I was so happy that she spoke up and she's literally telling the story because I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect because this is what these women go around. This is it. Listen to how reasonable she sounds though. Like that's the thing. You got to listen to how she sounds reasonable. This is a reasonable sounding individual, right? Oh, well, things happen. Well, I was thinking maybe I guess I could see him. I'm off for the weekend anyway. Based off of what the patriarchy wants you to believe, this is a reasonably sounding individual, but it doesn't work when you try to apply this thought process. That's another thing. When you try to apply this thought process into the real world, does it work? Okay. That's one thing when I was getting my doctorate, when I was getting my PhD, one of the things I started to see very quickly is like, okay, well, that's good when it comes to like on paper or knowledge wise, but whenever I try to apply it into the real world, it doesn't quite work. Why? Okay. Those two things are different. So you got to think, okay, that doesn't really work in the real world. Why? Because there's too many external factors. Like you could have a male that's gay. You could have a male that has nothing but bad intentions for you. This could be a male that's like literally married with 1 million kids and you didn't even know about it, right? So there's too many unknown factors for you to be able to account for. AKA, this thought process does not work unless you live in a perfect world, which you don't. Okay. So considering the fact that you don't live in a perfect world, this thought process is psychotic. It doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. Okay. But I want you all to notice how it sounds really good though. It sounds really good, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
I pack up my car. I head to Houston and it's like a 4-hour drive there, right? I'm about an hour away and I call him and I'm like, hey, like surprise. Like I'm about to be in your city. And at first he was like really excited. He was like, oh my gosh, like, thanks for coming all this way for me. He asked me like where I was going to be staying. And I was like, I'm not sure yet. Like I'm calling all the hotels in the area to try and get a room for tonight. And so he's like, oh, you can just stay with me. Well, I didn't feel comfortable staying with him because I like didn't know him. And so I was like, no, it's okay. Like I'll get a hotel. I'm just like struggling right now because I've been trying to call for the last 30 minutes and all of them are booked because of the marathon was that weekend in town. So I'm like, let me just keep trying and then I'll call you. So another 30 minutes goes by and I still do not have a hotel for the night. And at this point, it's like 10.
Baby. So she decided to drive the 4 hours. Let me, because I know that we have like breaks in between. I get to talking about like psychology stuff and I just get lost in talking about it. So anyway, so where she's at is she's like driving. Why do I like, I swear I chose my profession based off of my nosiness, girl. Because when I hear these stories, I'm like, ooh, no, like what happened? I'm so entertained by it. I love it. That's why I don't want to mail around. Because I feel like if I had a mail around, I wouldn't be laughing as much. I wouldn't be happy as much. Like right now, I'm all like, if a male were around, I feel like it would just suck out all my energy and good vibes and all my laughter. I'd just be like, now what do you want? So it would just be insane. But anyway, so she, at this point over the weekend, she's taken the trip. She's gotten in her car, y'all. She's gotten in her car on her only weekend off after working like 1 million days. She's gotten in her car and decided to drive to this male that she's only talked to for like a few weeks, mind you, right? Drive 4 hours to see him and surprise him because he said that his car broke down. So he said that like he was going to see her. So he lied to her. He said, oh, I'm going to come see you. I can't wait. I'm going to come on Saturday, blah, blah, blah. So only to turn around and say, oh, my car broke down. My car broke down. So I'm not able to like come over there. So she's thinking, I guess I could understand that. I guess I could understand it. Let me see if I can make it over there. So, look, y'all, ladies, this is called being desperate. Okay. You're desperate. If you're doing this, because even when I was younger, Like, out of all the mistakes that I made, this was never one of them. This was never one of them. Driving 4 hours to see a random male, no ma'am. But I love that she shared it. Oh my God, love you so much, lady. But this is a learning tool for the youngins. Don't purposely traumatize yourself with nonsense. Don't drive 4 hours to a random male. It doesn't make sense, okay? And then you're the one that tucked yourself into something that doesn't make sense. It don't make no sense. Don't do it. If it don't make sense, it don't make sense, period. Okay, all right. So at this point, she's like, okay, I surprised him. I told him. I don't know why I look so entertained by it. I'm telling y'all, like, I look entertained by it because, like, I swear, if I had, like, who the heck is that? Someone's at my door, but I think it's like someone that like sells stuff. Anyways, y'all. So let's go ahead and keep going because that's crazy.
Yeah. So I call him again and I'm like, hey, like, I'm still looking for a hotel. Like, I have not been able to get one. He gets so angry. He starts yelling.
Yes, guilty angel. No judgment to the young lady in the video, because I'll be honest, this is what we need. Because this is why I chose her video. Because like I said earlier, you see how reasonable it sounds, which it is. I don't want to, if I go down there, I'm going to end up cursing someone out because I saw him through my camera and I know that that's not anyone that I know. I know that that's a salesperson. She is brave, very, very brave. And I know that like a lot of youngins think this way because it's a reasonable way of thinking. But when you apply it to the world, that's not a perfect world. It's not reasonable. Do you understand? When you apply it to a world that is not a fair world and it is not a perfect world, it then becomes unreasonable. Okay. And she's so nice. Like that's one of the things that kills me. She's such a nice girl, like sounds like a complete sweetheart. She's like, okay, let me drive to this person. I guess, she wants love. It's like that fairy tale love. Like, I really want that. This is why I'm like, you know what? Let me get on. Let me do my live. Because I keep pumping out videos. It's to protect, because the ladies will come in with this mentality and end up traumatized by these demonic males. Point blank, period. No, don't do it. It's a learning tool. Thank you for coming out. Like, love you so much, but you got to learn from these experiences. Don't have to experience it yourself to learn from it.
At the like top of his lungs, like he is telling like how irresponsible of me was it to like drive without having a clear plan on like where I was going to stay for the night. And I'm like, but I also wanted to be understanding because I do understand like things happen. And it just so happened to be like a weekend where we were both going to be free. And I was working like 7 days a week, guys. So like having that weekend free, like was like my window. So it's like Friday and I'm like, I can just go see him. I pack up my car. I head to Houston and it's like a 4-hour drive there, right? I'm about an hour away and I call him and I'm like, hey, like surprise. Like, I'm about to be in your city. And at first he was like really excited. He was like, oh my gosh, like, thanks for coming all this way for me. He asked me like where I was going to be staying. And I was like, I'm not sure yet. Like, I'm calling all the hotels in the area to try and get a room for tonight. And so he's like, oh, you can just stay with me. Well, I didn't feel comfortable staying with him because I like didn't know him. And so I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'll get a hotel. I'm just like struggling right now because I've been trying to call for the last 30 minutes and all of them are booked because of the marathon was that weekend in town. So I'm like, let me just keep trying and then I'll call you. So another 30 minutes goes by and I still do not have a hotel for the night. And at this point, it's like 10 p.m. So I call him again and I'm like, hey, like, I'm still looking for a hotel. Like, I have not been able to get one. He gets so angry. He starts yelling at the like top of his lungs. Like he is telling like how irresponsible of me was it to like drive without having a clear plan on like where I was going to stay for the night. And I'm like so taken aback because I'm like, you're right. Like I should have had a plan, but also like, I don't know. I was trying to be spontaneous and like surprise you and stuff. So I'm over here thinking, like, it's fine. Like I'll keep looking, even if I have to go like outside of the main city where he was staying to like get a hotel, right? I was thinking it's like no big deal. Definitely not worth like going on a huge yelling rant for. And I think that just kind of like freaked me out because I kept trying to like speak in like a quieter, like calming tone to like see if he would come down. And then he didn't. He just like kept getting more angry. And so I was like, okay, yeah, like this isn't a character trait that I am particularly like attracted to, because if you're like having a disagreement and you're not able to regulate your emotions from like up here to here, that kind of scares me a little bit. So I was like, ooh, like I said, you know what? It's okay. Like, don't worry about it. And so I call around, I get a hotel within the next like 10 to 15 minutes, but I ended up having to pay like a hefty price. Like I think that hotel was like $350 for the night because it was the marathon was happening. And so I was like out, but at the same time, like, you know, it was what was available. So I did it. Well, I was so turned off by the yelling at me, so I didn't call him again after that. I stayed at that hotel for the night. The next day, I went and had like a really nice lunch. So I had like a luxury bath at the hotel. I treated myself to like a fancy lunch before driving all the way back another 4 hours. And so like, it was just a lesson learned. Like for me personally, do not make the drive to go see a guy for the first time. And if you do, definitely do not drive 4 hours, you know, like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. Like if he's asking, like, can you meet me halfway? And it's like an hour drive and you meet 30 minutes, sure. Anything more than that, I don't know. Like from my personal experience, I'm going to have to like say no. It's a no for me. Okay. But how far would you drive to meet a guy for the first time? Like put it in the comments.
0. Okay. I did put it in the comments and I said 0. Okay. Now, so you see whenever I call these males degenerates, this is why. Because I see this not only on TikTok, but in real life, where women will come and say XYZ, and males will come and tell me I did XYZ, and it's congruent with what the woman's experiences are. What they did, what they're confessing to doing, is literally congruent with what women are coming in to like saying that they've experienced, right? So you got to be careful. This is the thought process. This is really a big chunk of the lesson, right? Even though it sounds reasonable, it can't only sound reasonable in your head. It has to be reasonable in real life. Okay. So you can't like live and look, I love K-dramas too. I don't watch as many of them because they have the same plots. So I don't really watch as many of them anymore. But it's okay if you want to like live in a fantasy world and while you're watching a show or something, get some of the emotions out and like have a good time. But when it comes to dealing with the male species, you have to be so careful because they will literally prey on you. I say this all the time because it's facts, right? Males are the natural predators of women. Males are the natural predators of women, right? So look how nice. And then they wonder why more and more women are kicking them to the curb and not even worrying about dealing with them. Because again, like I say all the time, it's demonic behavior. Look how nice this lady is. Literally head in the clouds. Oh, well, I guess he couldn't see me. We've been talking. We've been getting along great. So let me go ahead and just drive over to him. It's fine, right? And she gets there. Here's the number one thing. He started yelling at her. Why do you think he started yelling at her? He started yelling at her because as soon as she said no to coming, like, because he asked her if she was going to stay at his place. He wanted her to stay at his place. And she said, no, I'm just going to find a hotel room. It's okay. I've been calling around. And as soon as she did that, guess what he did? He started yelling at her. Okay. That angry outburst. Probably the reason why he was doing that is probably because she said no to staying with him in the first place. Why? Because all he probably wanted was to try and sleep with this lady, hopefully, if he's not like a psycho, keeping women out in the basement. Because that's really, they could literally be psycho enough to drug you and keep you in a basement somewhere. That's the male species. That's the reality of who the male species really is. You just don't know. You just don't know. So she made the right, I feel like she made the right choices when it comes to like safety, but not really the best choices when it comes to like giving people she gave him the benefit of the doubt. Don't ever give males the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, not sorry. I always tell ladies, start with assuming that this male is gay. There's too many gay males in the dating pool for you to start with assuming that the male is straight. You don't start with assuming he's straight. You start with assuming he's gay. And then he has to prove his way into being straight in your mind. It's just so much safer that way. It's better for everybody because the males refuse to tell the truth. They insist on continuing to lie. They insist on continuing to be DL because they're kind of like getting satisfaction off of feeling like they control you as far as your emotions go, right? So the way to most effectively push back against that is to just start with assuming that the guy is gay, because there's no other way for you to start. Just assume he's gay. Any male that you meet, I don't care how straight he looks. I put a video in here where he looks so straight, y'all, but he's completely gay. He looks straight to me, right? If I just look at his physical, I'm like, that looks like a straight guy. It turns out he's gay. So ladies, start with assuming that the male is gay. All males are gay until they prove otherwise. All of them are gay. Period. Okay. It's just the best way to go. It's so much easier. It's so much easier because the males don't have even some of the gay males will literally sleep with married males knowing that the male is gay. Knowing that the male has a whole family and everything else, and he's hiding it. They'll justify it by saying things like, well, I just don't ask any questions. It's none of my business. Lack of empathy. You got to be careful. Extreme lack of empathy. So just do yourself a favor. Start with assuming he's gay until he proves that he's not. No matter what he looks like. No matter what he says. Now just start like, look. And then once you're comfortable enough, I always start, you could tell them, I always start with assuming guys are gay. In today's day and age, it's 2025, you just never know. It's like so unsafe for women nowadays, and if he doesn't understand that, then you gay. Okay. I know that sounds funny, but it's actually true. It's actually true. You know what I'm saying? Hi, CB. Thanks for joining. Yep. CB says, I always assume every male I meet is gay. I thought I did that because I'm from Atlanta. Girl, I heard about Atlanta. Yeah, there's a lot of gay males over there in Atlanta. I think I have like a video or two here where we're talking about we're talking about Houston, but I've heard about Atlanta. Okay. Yeah, you start with assuming that he's gay. Even clients that I work with, I tell them to do the same thing. I said, look, by nature, you're kind of, when we look at the real world compared to how you're wired by nature with all this nurturing and emotion, you're at a disadvantage. You're prey. I tell women all the time, look, ma'am, you got to understand what you are. And what you are is prey. Okay. If you don't understand what you are, you're going to keep traumatizing yourself for no reason. When you meet any male, make it easy. Make it so easy for yourself where it doesn't even matter if they're telling the truth or not. It doesn't matter. Why? Because every male you meet, you assume that they're gay. I'm like, that's a gay male. That's a gay male. He gay, period. Okay. Until they prove otherwise. Easy. Don't even stress yourself about it. Don't even worry about it. Just be like, he gay until you do your background checks. You hire your private investigator. You look on what's their app? Grinder, look on Facebook, you know, like you check all the marks, and then you do that every like 2-3 years. And so every 2-3 years, it's like a contract renewal. So you do that the first time, you're like, okay, I guess maybe he's straight, you know. And then come time for the contract renewal, 2-3 years, you do your checks again. Okay, contract renewed. Point blank, period. And that's how you have to be. You can't go in dealing with these males with all this emotion. You're going to get demolished. Okay. So many, they get demolished because they think like this nice lady, but it's unfortunate that this way of thinking, look, nice ladies finish last. You will finish last because you're too nice. Can't think like this. You're going to get demolished, right? The males are they literally exhibit demonic behavior. They literally exhibit them. So you can't, like, if you're dealing with one of them, you can't be like, they'll eat you up and spit you out and then move on to the next prey. Okay. So just assume any male that you interact with, he gay, or at the very least, assume he might be gay, he might be gay, he might be gay, he might be gay. At least do that for yourself. At least assume he might be gay, he might be gay. Me, I'm assuming he gay. In 2025, that's a gay male. Okay, but I'm open to being wrong. So that's how I'm approached in 2025. That's a gay male, but I'm open to being wrong. Okay, and don't be shy about asking. You can ask them too, right? You can literally just, but I would be specific with what you're asking them. I would specifically say, because the males, they lie at surreal levels. Like, they're lying. Like, you would be shocked. You would be perplexed at the lies that these males tell. Like, if you say something like, for example, if you say something like, are you married? They could literally look this, because this happened to me. They could literally look in your face and say, no, I'm not married. Okay. And then you go look it up on the internet and you find out, oh, okay, this male is married. There's like a marriage certificate, like this is a married male. So why would he tell me that he's not married? And then you go back to the male and you say, but I looked you up and it says that you're married. Why would you tell me that you're not married? Guess what he's going to say? Guess what he's going to say? Well, no, we're not married. We're not married. We've been living. I've been living in an apartment. She's been living in a house for like over a year now. We're not married, girl. So this is how they justify it, right? Meanwhile, we're not married. You've been living in an apartment, but sir, you're literally married. I literally looked you up. So the male is married, but they'll twist it and turn it into something else, all with the explanation. So you can't play those games with these males. I'm telling y'all, I like everything I say is so literal. It's so literal. They're degenerates. Okay. Only 5% of them are probably worth anything. Okay. Chill, relax, unless you run into one of the 5%ers. Otherwise, it's just not even going to be worth it for you. Okay. So they'll say something like that. So then you have to be so specific with what you're asking them. You literally have to say, okay, are you on paper still legally married to somebody? Are you on paper still legally married to somebody? If I were to look it up right now, Google it, look it up right now, would it say that you're still married? That's how specific you have to be. Okay. Listen to me if you want to. Don't listen to me if you don't want to. I'm just telling you. Okay. This is the truth. This is the reality of the world that this is. Okay. You have to be so specific, right? And you'll know what your answer is. They'll start hesitating. They might gaslight you. Well, let's just discuss this. Let's just talk about this. Let's just like talk about the male is married. So you have the information that you need. Oh, Toby says background check is mandatory. Yeah, a background check is mandatory. It's mandatory. You got to do a background check. Okay. See what's really going on there. Okay. So those are the things. Exactly. Now let's see. Let's move forward with this. Oh, my thing is like.
Look at this. Ladies, here in Houston, Texas, look at this.
What we are all looking at collectively is a list of DL men here in Houston that a trans woman had posted from her messages, okay? Lists and lists of men that have been trying to talk to her. We all are having discussions about why these men act the way they do. And this is, and if we, let's just take a quick note. I'm not going to make this a race thing, but I want you to look at what you see the most of as she's scrolling through this. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll say this. Ladies, these men don't like women anymore. I don't know how many times I've been trying to tell y'all. These men do not like women anymore. Not in Houston, Texas. Let me tell you something. Y'all been trying to figure out, like, why doesn't he like me? Why doesn't he take me out? Why doesn't he do this? Why is it? Because he don't want to. They don't, these men, especially these men that we see, they don't like women like that anymore. Look, they don't like women like that anymore. Let me tell you something. Y'all been trying to figure out when he said, oh man, no, I'd rather hang out with my homeboys than hang out with my girl. 1, I haven't ever been in a faithful relationship with a woman. 2, 3, they try to compete with you. They want to look better than you. They don't like it when you make more money than them. They want you to be, submissive. But this is a competition. We're competing. Are you kidding me? This is a competition that we can't win. We genetically can't win that competition. Let me tell you something. We are now in a space where we genuinely have to ask these men, like, do you even like women? I'm going to start asking. I'm personally going to be like, hey, like, do you like men? They're going, no, of course I like white men. Why would you ask me that? Watch how offensive he gets. Let me tell you something. Get a dap, put it on your phone, put the location down and see if that thing starts binging off while you on a date. Let me tell you something. These men are on something else. And the thing is, like with me, I'm completely okay with it. I'm cool with it. This makes everything makes so much more sense. You want to know why he doesn't want to take you out on dates? You want to know why he doesn't want to see you? You want to know why he's manipulative and gets off from putting you down? You want to know why it bothers him that you make more money or that you're more educated than him, why he'd rather hang out with his boys than hang out with you, why he's not romantic. You want to know why these men be 40, 50 years old and never been married and never settled down, and they can't keep one good relationship for a long period of time because they keep cheating. This is why. And I feel like we really need to be honest about this, ladies. Like, for me, moving forward, if I'm dating a man and he's like, man, no, I can't see you. If I notice that he's kind of being manipulative or he's not romantic or he's not making efforts, he'd rather hang out with his boys, and he tells me his last couple relationships didn't work out because he cheated. He's 30, 40, 50 years old, never been married. I'm going to assume that he's gay. And that may not be right, but this is now what we're conditioned into believing. This is what it is. This is how we got to move now. So I'm just letting you know, if you try to approach me and you're on some, what do women bring to the table, 50-50, I'd rather hang out with my boys. I can't be faithful, type of women get on my nerves type of stuff. Like, I bet women do get on your nerves because, man, if we weren't around, then you wouldn't have an option but to live the life you really want to live. And I'm just saying, ladies, be careful out there in Houston. Like, this is what we're dealing with. If these, and you know what I'm saying, if these are the type of men that you like, you better start asking those questions and keep your eyes open, because this is the reality of it now. I'm saying. Look at this. It's still scrolling. Abusive men are on the...
Y'all, so She said, I'm going to start asking them. But keep in mind, don't ask them, do you even like women? Don't ask them, do you like men? Okay. Don't ask them that question. It's not specific enough. Okay. You have to ask them the very specific question. Have you ever thought about sleeping with a man? Have you ever slept with a man? Have you ever slept with a trans person who is a man but dresses like a woman? You got to be super, super specific. Males are liars. They're literally created. I don't know what that's about, but they lie as easily as the air that they breathe. Okay, so you have to be super specific. And when you ask that question, you have to like wait to see or gauge how long they take to respond, how they respond, because most likely what's going to come out of their mouth is a lie anyway. So what you're watching for is body language. What you're watching for is, do they get super upset about it and like weird about it? These are all the things that you're watching for. Okay, so she said like, yeah, I, for one, am going to start asking. This is what I was saying. You got to just, without the asking, like just assume they're all gay. You'll feel so much better because you'll feel like you have more control over that situation. If you just assume that they're all gay, you're going to have more control over that situation, right? Because it's like, oh, they're all gay until, but I'm open to being wrong. So unless they prove me otherwise, I'm pretty sure the guy's probably gay. There's too many of them out here. There's too many of them, and they'll lie about it. And they don't care to change. They don't care to improve. They don't care about your health. They'll lie about it. You could get a disease. You could get AIDS. You could get HIV. You could get whatever it is from this male. They don't give two craps. Okay, so you just start with, make it easy for yourself. Start with assuming that they're gay. The other lady that was telling us how she drove 4 hours there and 4 hours back. Another thing I forgot to mention especially for the youngins that might like, I might have one youngin watch this. Good, right? Don't drive to no male, period. Okay, 1 hour, 2 hours. You don't drive to a male, period. You don't travel to a male. I don't care if he's paying for a travel ticket. Don't go to a male. First of all, males are deviants. Okay. They're demons. They're degenerates by nature. Okay. Sorry. That's just the truth. Okay. I hate to say it. That's just the truth. Okay. Wish the world was different, but it's not. Okay. So you can't, like, you doing that is, you're going to put yourself at risk. You got to remember, like, look, you're prey. You can't be traveling to the predator. You see, this is why I say it like that, because it's like, if you think of yourself like, look, these males like are literally the natural predators to women, which makes me the prey. You're less prone to make dumb decisions. Okay. Like you're like, now tell me why I would take a plane and fly to a predator, to my predator. Tell me why I would drive 4 hours to meet a male who is the natural predator to women. He could stick me in a basement somewhere, never to be heard from again. Okay, so you don't drive to any of these males. The most you might, like, if you just can't help yourself and stuff, like, because I know y'all are gonna go through your process. You're gonna want to like, let me not listen to IPGG. Let me rebel, right? You don't drive more than 10 minutes max. Okay, not more than 10 minutes max. You don't tell him the area that you live, and you're better off if you make sure that he sends you money for an Uber for the trip there and back. Because if he's not going to send you money for the Uber, it's just not going to be worth your time. Okay, because if it's a male that doesn't like you enough to do that, you're going to be wasting your time. Okay, this is for the youngins. If you just have to experience it, I understand, I get it, but try to keep yourself safe as much as possible. I don't even give my real number out. I have a Google Voice account. Get a Google Voice account, get a fake phone number. Okay. So get a fake phone number, get a Google Voice, because a lot of times I need to reach out to Google, but I'm pretty sure like whenever I type in my phone number on Google, it comes up with some information about me that I'm like, how could this be legal for all this information to be on here with just typing in my phone number? So you got to be careful. So I started giving out Google Voice phone numbers, not just to males, but just in general. I just give my work phone number, my Google Voice work phone number, and that's it. And it's been perfect ever since, right? But I one of the women told me that I can reach out to Google to get it taken off. So I'm going to look into that. But don't give your phone number. This is the digital era that we live in. We live in the digital times. Okay. Very, very different from the time when there was no internet, from the time when you can't be giving your phone number. They could literally just type in your phone number into Google and your name, your address, everything will pop up just with your phone number. Don't do it. Okay. If you absolutely have to do it, 10 minutes max, he has to come to you. Don't tell him that the place that you chose for you to meet is anywhere in the area of your house. So that way you don't clue him in that it's close to your house, and get the money Zelled to you for the Uber and tell him that's what it's for. So that he knows, like, you paying for me to come see you, because otherwise, why would I do it? It's stupid. Okay. With all the makeup and all the stuff that I'm going to use that I had to pay hundreds of dollars for, not going to happen. Youngins, don't say I didn't tell you. There was one more thing I wanted to make sure that y'all keep in mind with the last video. Yeah, so don't drive, don't do any of that nonsense. Stay in tune with reality, with the real world. And that's it. Don't be nice. This is not a nice world. You'll get demolished. You'll get massacred, because this is not a nice world. You can't be nice. So this is like a Houston DL list. Apparently, all the males in Houston are gay, y'all. There you go. Don't say IPGG didn't tell you. Thank you, Guilty Angel. I just saw your compliment. Thank you. All the males in Houston are gay. Okay, just like, there you go. There you have it. Just like in Atlanta. I know we're talking about Atlanta. I heard about Atlanta too. Males in Atlanta are gay. Now, I will say this. I think this is across the board. But they're just now starting to pop up more and more where it's like they're getting outed, right? So I think this is like all across. You'll find this. But Houston, Atlanta, you'll probably find this in every other area as well. So be careful. This guy, this is like his Facebook list. Look at all the males on here trying to talk to this guy, this trans guy. And then they will tell you, oh, no, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. Because I feel like they know that they're gay. But in order to justify what they're doing, they tell themselves, no, it's not the same. I'm not gay because I'm sleeping with a guy that's dressed up as a woman. Because if you look at it logically speaking, it doesn't make sense. But what these types of DL males will tell themselves is, no, it's not the same, because she looks like a woman. I'm sleeping with a male that looks like a woman. And they actually get off of that. They get off from it because the DL male is dressed like a woman, but she's not but it's not a woman, and she has the same private parts as he does. So it actually arouses them even more. Like, they get aroused off of that. Okay. So they'll tell themselves it's not the same because, she's dressed as a woman, in order to make themselves feel better about the fact that, like, oh, it's not the same, so I'm not gay. Meanwhile, they're 100% gay. You're sleeping with a male. Like, that's it. It's not complicated. They keep trying to make it complicated. It's not complicated. You're sleeping with a male, you gay. Like, that's it. That's all. That's it. That's it. That's all. Okay. So be careful. That's why I say you can't just ask them general questions like, are you gay? You got to be so specific, because they'll lie to themselves and they'll lie to you, especially because they're lying to themselves. No, I'm not gay. So their definition of being gay is just man to man, and not like, even though it's like you're sleeping with a male, just because she's dressed as a woman doesn't mean that's not a male. That's a male. Okay, so you got to be careful.
Down low. The scariest thing about DL men, they don't believe that they're gay. Like, they put it in their mind that they're not gay.
And he's absolutely right. These men will be sexually active with other men, look you dead in your eyes and tell you that they are not gay. And while there's nothing wrong with being gay, being down low is manipulative, deceptive, and delusional. These are some of the reasons why, as a straight woman, I am scared of men on the down low. First of all abusive men are on the down low. If he ever so much as push you down, He likes sucking. DL men will pursue the fuck out of a straight woman. They will want to be around you every single day. They will blow your phone up every single day. They gonna text back fast. They will be outside your front door with a boombox in the rain. They want to secure you as a cover-up to use you as their beard and their trophy to attract other men. Number 2, DL men hate condoms. Think about it. He already don't like coochie. He got to fight to stay hard, take 100 honey packs, and be on all type of ED medication. You put a condom in the mix, they gonna claim how they hate condoms, it doesn't feel good with the condom, because they're used to booty hole. And booty hole and coochie feel different. Sad thing is they be telling the man they with that they hate condoms too. They don't use condoms with anybody. Again, I'm not talking about openly gay men. I'm talking about men on the down low. Number 3, DL men will have their boyfriend right in your face. You be worrying about a side bitch. You need to be worried about his best friend who he be chilling with every weekend. That's who really be getting their back blown out. Number 4, DL men love jail. They find an empathetic woman out here in the free world that's gonna ride or die from them while they in jail, and you taking their phone calls, sending them money, sending them packs. Whole time that him and his boyfriend playing house in the jail cell. Number 5, DL men will unalive anybody who outs them. It doesn't matter if it's their boyfriend, their wife, their girlfriend, their side piece, your grandma, your kids, your mom. Y'all gotta go. And I hate when they say DL men don't come out the closet because of the way us women will react. You are not scared of us, sir. You are scared of your straight homeboy beating your ass. And in 2025, you should know that there are women that will accept you for being bisexual or whatever. And there are men that will accept your lifestyle as well. We really do not give a fuck. We just give a fuck that you keep lying. As far as that Houston DL list goes,
Yep. So y'all, so we're starting to wrap up now. Okay, we're starting to wrap. We just have a few minutes on this video, so we're starting to wrap up now. But that's exactly right, CB. So in the last video that we watched before this one, she was saying, because the trans guy that wants to be a girl, he outed the males. He's the one that was showing his Facebook and scrolling down and showing the women, like, look how many gay guys are actually out here. He literally outed the males, right? And so with that, it's like one of the biggest arguments was, I had to remember because I lost my train of thought. One of the biggest arguments was that, like, okay, so if y'all actually believe that you're women, then why is there something to out in the first place? Like, you're outing these males saying that, look, these males are gay. You're outing these males, right? But you supposedly are claiming that you're a woman because you're trans. So if you're trans, then why did you feel the need to out something in the first place? Okay. So that tells you, it's like, they know exactly, CB. They know that they're males. Okay. And this is just typical male behavior, again, because you rarely, if ever, see a woman exhibiting this level of degenerate behavior. Oh, let me just do this, and, you know, like, things for attention. So these males know that they're males. They do. And they're just, it goes to show and prove that they are literally just doing it for attention. They hate women. So it's like they really, really wish they could replace women. And this is probably one of the reasons why they do it. You know, but they definitely know what they are. They know that they're males. Okay. They don't actually believe that they're women. They know that they're males. Okay. And that's like one of the biggest arguments was like, okay, well, you sat here and you said, look at all these males that are gay. I'm going to out every single one of them. Well, why would you feel like there's something to out if you feel like you're a woman? Okay. So they know that they're males, y'all. They do it for attention. They do it because They don't like women. It's like this envy, right, that they have of women, right? And so to what she's saying, she kind of listed some things to be on the lookout for when it comes to DL males as we start wrapping up, right? So I can't even, like, she was saying, let me see, because some of the things that she was saying.
Use condoms for anybody. Again, I'm not.
DL males don't like to use condoms. If you meet a male that doesn't like to use condoms, run. He's either DL or wants to trap you there for some weird reason, because there's no reason, right? So for some weird reason, he doesn't like to use condoms, run, because he's trying to trap you. And there's a good chance that he's DL. Another thing about DL males is they cheat a lot. You'll see them, and they're usually serial cheaters. And it doesn't have to be cheating with another male. If they're like cheating with several women, or you notice they have several women in their social media, like following several women or are being followed by several women, and they talk to a lot of women, and they seem to like always go from one woman to the next woman, that male is probably gay. Okay. And maybe he just hasn't accepted the fact that he's gay, going through woman after woman, when what he's looking for is a male that has a dingling down there. Okay. So that's actually a big sign that the male is gay. If he's like a serial cheater, or on his social media accounts, he's following like a ton of women. And you find that like he talks or tries to talk to a ton of women, womanizer, that's the word. Like if he seems like a womanizer, there's a good chance, like there's like literally over a 90th% chance that that's a gay male that you're dealing with. Okay. Don't say IPGG didn't tell you. Don't say IPGG did not tell you. Okay. I see them in my office all the time. I work with both the males and the women, and I tell the males, that's how I know. I'm like, look, you just need to start telling these males the truth, because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. When I work with them, I just tell them the truth. I'm like, what? So, but they're never going to do that. They're always going to try to baby these males. So you got to be on the lookout for yourself. So let's see. I think this might be the last video, I think.
Talking about openly gay men. I'm talking about men on the down low. Number 3, DL men will have their boyfriend right in your face. You be worrying about a side bitch. You need to be worried about his best friend, who he be chilling with every weekend. That's who really be getting their back blown out. Number 4, DL men love jail. They find an empathetic woman out here in the free world that's gonna ride or die from them while they in jail, and you taking their phone calls, sending them money, sending them packs. Whole time that him and his boyfriend playing house in the jail cell. Number 5, DL men will unalive anybody who outs them. It doesn't matter if it's their boyfriend, their wife, their girlfriend, their side piece, your grandma, your kids, your mom. Y'all gotta go. And I hate when they say DL men don't come out the closet because of the way us women will react. You are not scared of us, sir. You are scared of your straight homeboy beating your ass. And in 2025, you should know that. Also, not coming out because of how women will react is just like psychopathy. Because women won't react well. She doesn't want to be with a DL male. So you use that as justification to lie. I'm telling you, they're scum. DL males are scum. Scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. Literally, she won't react well. Women don't want you. If you are DL, if you're gay, if you interact with males on any level, she doesn't want you. But so because that, you intentionally withhold the information. They're scum. They're basically just telling you, look, we're scum. That's basically it. There are women that will accept you for being bisexual or whatever, and there are men that will accept your lifestyle as well. We really do not give a fuck. We just give a fuck that you keep lying.
As far as that Houston DL list goes, that should be the magical answer for why that man is always mad at you for no fucking reason. Because you don't have the artillery that he wants. He mad at you outside of the fact that he don't have no fucking health insurance. He mad at you because you are not what he wants and he cannot live in his truth. You have a lot of straight men, DL men, who they're angry because and super homophobic because people who live in their truths, they don't like it because they can't. It's like they're in a prison, they're in a jail because they really, really, really want to love who they want to love, but they can't because they don't want to be judged for loving who they actually want to love. So they use you as a beard. And they're always angry, and they may trap you into having multiple pregnancies. You always have recurring BV. He's a womanizer. He has multiple kids and doesn't see, he doesn't even have like a vision of a woman that he's going to settle down with in sight. That Houston DL list, and not just Houston, all over. That is why a lot of these DL men are angry, because they can't live in their truth.
With all of these dudes getting exposed for being DL, I think I'm kind of straight on the dating pool. I think I'm on a straight on dating. I think I'm going to just stay single because Northside, Homestead, A-Leaf, Southside, the whole Houston is turning into Atlanta, and the whole Houston is damn near DL. I think I'm straight. Yep. I think I'm straight.
Let me address this comment right here. The only issue I have is the bottom part where it says, that being said, your comment calling her a man is the reason why these men will continue to be DL.
This is her. This is the one I was talking about with the bullying, and I had to like jump in.
For men being DL, that has nothing to do with us. Men are DL because of their own insecurities, but I'll elaborate on that in a minute. Second, she calls herself a boy. She has pictures of her being a boy and then transitioning into a woman. Not transitioning, but after the transition into a woman. So from baby on up, she has those pictures on her page, so I'm not calling for her. Now the issue with DL men is that you're hiding it. The whole point of DL is down low. That means you're hiding it, either from family, friends, or the person that you're with. If you have to hide something, that means you don't need to be doing it. That's the whole issue here. Men are down low. They're cheating with men. Me as a straight woman, if I'm in a relationship with you and I find out that you're cheating on me with a man, I'm going to be very upset because I was under the impression that I was in a relationship with a straight man and you're attracted to me. There's nothing wrong with living in your truth. When you think about it, gays are gays and they're accepted as gays. They're accepted because that's what they're open about it. What can you do about it? If a man come up to you and he's gay, he's openly gay, you know that. What can you do about it? Nothing. That's just who they are. You either accept it or you move on, move around. That's it. Same thing with a gay female. That's just who they are. You're not that person. You're not in their lives. If you're not being affected by it, you shouldn't be bothered by it. That's it. If a man is DL, the problem is that he's cheating. He can catch something from cheating, period. I don't want you cheating on me with a female. Why would I want you cheating on me with a man? That's the issue. And you're not giving me the choice to accept it or not. Because you're sneaking behind my back and doing it. That is the whole issue here with the DL shit. A lot of the men were in relationships and they're cheating on their female with someone who's open about being a man. That's it.
So, okay. So yeah, that was the lady that I was talking about, that I was like, oh, not necessarily the lady, because she's a youngin', I could tell by just how much they were trying to push her around. And so she was starting to kind of retreat with her words. And I came in there and I was like, look, you males are gay. Okay, I need you to piss off. Clean off this page immediately. Okay. So it was like the bullying thing does not work for me, because I'm like, what did she say that doesn't make sense to you? What did she say that was unreasonable? Everything she listed was like, look, my standard is, if I'm with you as a straight woman, I expect you to be straight as well. That's just common sense. Okay. If you're not, I'm not down with that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you lying? right? And that is the whole issue with the DL males, okay? That's why I say the DL males, the only thing worse than DL males are pedos and women unalivers, probably. But they're like right here, like pedos are right here, women unalivers are right here, DL males are like right there, okay? DL males are like right there, okay? Because of the level of trauma that they're able to cause. I mean, you could literally cause women and children trauma to the extent where those same women and children literally hurt themselves. That's how traumatic of an experience that could be, where they literally hurt themselves because of that level of trauma. So they're like right there. So they came on her page and tried to bully her, and I have zero tolerance for it, especially when you're like the dumb one. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, you're just homophobic, you're just this and this. Look, come out the closet. Okay, so that's another thing. That's another strategy that they try to use, is distraction, because all they're trying to do is distract you. Come out the closet. What does that have to do with you coming out the closet? Like you're saying, oh, you're saying, oh, you're just homophobic. What does homophobic have to do with you coming out the closet? Come out the closet, sir. Okay. Yeah, that has nothing to do with being a homophobic. That's standards. That's boundaries. Come out the closet, so we can all know what you are. Your gay counterparts are fine. Like, it's like everyone knows who they are. A lot of us have gay friends. Like, we can run them through our gay friends to make sure that this male ain't gay too, period. Okay. But the problem is when you lie about what you are, and then your whole community goes after youngins, innocent women, innocent children, harassing them, and you're not even making any sense with the stuff that's coming out your mouth. Like everyone else doesn't have or deserve freedoms, you and your group are the only ones that deserve freedoms. Are you well? Are you know what I'm saying? So y'all, so kind of wrapping it up in summary for today, because the live has gone on so long. This is why I like having meetings scheduled. I don't have any today, but the meetings help me keep track of time and not be on the live for too long. Whenever I don't have anything scheduled for after, I just kind of like chill on here on the live. I'm just like chilling the whole time. So anyways, in summary, we're gonna start trying to do like the lives 2 times a week. I posted an update in the community section, so we'll start trying to do the lives 2 times a week. I think the next time we're gonna go live next week is Monday. I think I'm gonna do Monday because I'm traveling on Tuesday, so I actually won't be here on Tuesday. I won't be here on Wednesday. So the next time we're probably going to go live is on Monday. And then we'll go live maybe Thursday or Friday after that, right? So just keep that in mind. I'll see if I can post it in the community section as a reminder as well. So we'll probably do the AI topic on Monday, because that got a lot of votes too this time. But then this topic, I'll vote it the AI topic again. So we're going to do the AI topic next time. So hopefully you guys join in for that. So summary for today, make sure that, first of all, trust yourself, trust your intuition. If something is off, if something is weird, be gone. Because a straight male, and I'm so like a straight male, you won't have much to like question. You see what I'm saying? So all you'll be left to do is to do your own checks. So hire a private, I'm heavy on the private investigator, because even if you get on Grindr, say you get on Grindr, you get on Facebook, a lot of these DL males will have several Facebook pages. A lot of these DL males will use different phone numbers to sign up on Grindr, so you might not find them on the Grindr app. So they have several ways of getting around those things. But if you hire a private investigator, okay, that's a lot more locked in. Be on the lookout for these signs. Start with assuming they're all gay. Let's just assume they're all gay. Just assume that, to me, that they're gay. As a male, you can't be bi. As a woman, you can. As a male, you can't. You walk around with too many diseases. You can't have both. So sorry. Okay. Unless the woman is okay with it. You know, there's no such thing. Too many diseases that come from you. Sorry, that's just how nature has it set up. This is just the truth. Gross out. Move on. Okay. So it's like, start with assuming that they're all gay, and it just makes your life so much easier. No matter what they sound like, no matter, I thought I had it in here. There was this male that looks super masculine, but maybe I'll show it in the next live where we cover this topic. Because you could just never tell just by the way that they look. You know what I mean? You just can never tell. Assume they're all gay until proven otherwise. It will just make your life so much easier. Okay. Trust yourself, trust your intuition. Don't travel to no mail. Don't drive to no mail. You know what I mean? Like, get like an alternative phone number, because they're psychos. This is primarily for the youngins, this part, you know, and just kind of stay safe out there, you know. So in summary, most males are gay. Most of them are gay. Most of them are gay. Period. And I'm convinced that in the 90th percentile of males are gay. The most scary thing that you need to keep in mind is most of these males will not admit it to themselves. They'll keep telling themselves, I'm not gay because I only did it that one time in high school, or I only did it with my mouth, or they've only done it to me. So they'll tell themselves, oh, I'm not gay. So you can't really ask them, are you gay? And expect that they're going to give you an answer that's worth a crap. That answer is not worth jack squat. Okay. Because they're liars and they're predators by nature. I keep telling y'all, they're degenerates through and through. So you can't really say, are you gay? And expect them to be honest with you. It's not going to work. Okay. Be very specific with your question. Have you ever slept with a male? Have you ever done anything sexual with a male? Have you ever wondered about it? Have you ever thought about it? Just start asking very, very, very detailed and specific questions. So if I were to hire a private investigator, they wouldn't find that you're doing anything weird, right? You know, see what his reaction is there, right? You don't even have to say that part, but you know, depending on how much you might want to test them out, right? But you got to be so specific because they're liars. And you got to do this every 2 to 3 years. Every 2 to 3 years, you got to do it. Got to do it. This is just the world that we live in. Got to do it because, you know, males are known for having a mask, and it's a thorough job. I mean, when they do this job, they do a thorough job. It's like one of the biggest characteristics of a predator. Thorough job, right? This mask that they put on when they lie to you, when they play the role to get you hooked, and now you're married and you're stuck there through this marriage contract. And you think, oh, we just have 2 kids together. We have 1 kid together. I can't believe it. The podcast I just put out, the lady was sitting there with a gay male, and they have 4 kids. She was pregnant, I think, with the 4th kid. That's in the latest podcast, right? So you don't want that. That's how we ended up with all these gay males out here, because the women kept procreating with gay males because they kept lying probably about what it is that they are, you know. So you don't want to end up with genes that you don't want, because if they were telling you the truth, you wouldn't choose them to be in a romantic relationship with. Besties, maybe. Friends, maybe. But to be sleeping with you and be in a romantic relationship with you and you sleep with other males, no thanks. It's as simple as that. But the males are predators. They want to prey on you. And even the gay males will like sleep with males that they know are married, because that's how much they hate women. So you got to be careful. Got to be careful about that. So y'all, that is kind of like a summary there. That Victoria says IPGG players are predators. Exactly. Players are predators. Womenizers are predators. Period. Okay. So you got to be smart. You think to yourself, like, look, I am the prey. I am I hate to say the innocent one, but usually that's the case. You mean you saw the lady that traveled 4 hours deluding herself, you know, all because she wanted to believe the best from this male species. No, right? All because she wanted to believe the best of this guy. Such a male species does not exist. You got to start with believing like, look, this is a demon. Unless he proves himself otherwise, no thanks. let's be friends, sir. Let's be acquaintances, because I feel like people use that friendship term too loosely, right? So start with that. Rewind the video, youngins, take notes, make sure that, like, because I've been leaving this video out. Now that I'm getting a little bit more used to it and stuff, YouTube always demonetizes me, so it's like it annoys me, but I'm getting used to it at least, you know. So join the Patreon if you haven't checked that out. Join the membership section. Don't forget to smash that like button for me. Okay, love you so much. And then keep in mind, y'all, we'll get together again on Monday probably for the next live, since I'll be traveling on Tuesday, even though we usually get together on Tuesdays. And then I'll let y'all know it's probably going to be Thursday or Friday for the second live. Okay, so rewind, take notes, keep that in mind, combine that with everything else that you learn from all these other women out here on YouTube. You combine it, okay, and you stay safe. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Okay, and I will see y'all in the next one. Love you so much. Bye.